reconvene to the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 7:03 p.m. with Blair, Cruz, Na, Orozco, and Fikes present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices and note that these proceedings are being recorded. Pat.
The board met in closed session from 5:25 to
until 6:50.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. Regarding conference with legal counsel, existing and anticipated litigation, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, public employee appointment, assistant superintendent, human resources, coordinator, procurement, and high school assistant principals, and public employee performance evaluation superintendent. The board voted to appoint Tammy Saylor, assistant principal, Chino Hills High School, effective August 20th, 2018, by a unanimous vote of 5-0, with Cruz, Blair, Na, Orozco, and Fikes voting yes. And voted to appoint Richard Rideout as assistant superintendent, human resources, effective August 17th, 2018, by a vote of 4-0, with Cruz voting yes, Blair no, Na yes, Orozco yes, Fikes yes. No further action was taken that requires public disclosure.
So, Mrs. Kaler, the second one is a vote of 4-1.
Excuse me, 4-1.
Correct. Thank you. Tammy Saylor, are you in the audience? Would you like to come forward, our new assistant principal at Chino Hills High School?
All right. So, I don't know if this is on, I guess so. Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here tonight.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. You're a woman of few words. I know you're going to have a lot of challenges and wonderful experiences at our school. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Rideout, are you in the audience?
President Fikes, Superintendent Infield, members of the board, I'd just like to take a moment to say thank you for this opportunity to serve as Assistant Superintendent for Chino Valley Unified School District. It's truly an honor. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Cabinet for your exemplary leadership by providing me many fruitful professional opportunities to grow, and I thank you for that. I'd like to put a moment out to appreciate the community members that are here, as well as the bargaining units that I get to work with each and every day. I truly believe that the success of this district is based on a symbiotic relationship, and I really look forward to serving in a very selfless manner to make sure that we're building bridges and that we're always working for the best interests of our kids. So I want to thank you once again and have a great evening.
Thank you. Mrs. Beverly Beamer, our Director of Planning, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please rise. Place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now at presentations. Mr. McComb, would you come to the podium? I think the audience doesn't need to be introduced to Mr. McCombs, a long-standing member of our community. He tried to slip something kind of by us, and then we found out that actually we wanted to recognize what you wanted to recognize. So we thank you so much for coming tonight and would like to hear your presentation.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't prepare much of a presentation. What she's referring to was a gift my family foundation was able to make the WOLF program. And one reason we were able to do so is because having sold the Chino Champion here a couple of years ago, almost 2 years ago, it allowed us to have some money to put back into the community. And after 60 years as the newspaper publisher, it was really a pleasure to be able to do that, because this is a community that things are tied together here, and unlike many other communities in the newspaper, I've always felt that the school district was the one thing, even though we have two cities, the one thing the community has in common, and that by paying attention to the school district was important. And I always told my reporters, go out and get as many kids' pictures in there as possible so that they'll have something to put up on the refrigerator wall. You can't do that all the time with computer stuff, but anyway, it was our pleasure to, because my wife worked, she helps start Head Start in this community. She taught here a number of years, and she worked with a lot of people who needed a little help. And so in her memory and in honor of Wayne Joseph, who was particularly behind this program, it was our honor to be able to do that.
So I would like to say that Mr. McCombs donated $10,000 to student scholarships at the end of the school year, and $10,000 in honor of our retiring superintendent, Mr. Wayne Joseph, to the Hope Center. So if Liz Lara and Mr. Joseph would like to come forward, this is your turn.
Good evening. What an honor! What an honor to be honored this way. And really, it's when we began the project, you know, it was Mr. Joseph's really like his love project. It was from his heart. And so to see the community embrace it is nothing short of incredible and incredibly gratifying and just a blessing, really. So with this money, we are able to really sow back into our families. It's good that I'm able to share with you, just in the past 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks, we've served over 600 students and families alone, preparing them for school. And that's getting them clothing, shoes, backpacks, hygiene supplies, a lot of things. Our shelves right now are pretty bare. And so it's a great, I mean, it comes at a great time where we're able to restock and continue to assist a lot of needy families. So thank you once again from the bottom of our hearts, really. We're able to continue the work that Mr. Joseph envisioned from the very beginning and continue to serve our community and our students and our families. So thank you.
Mr. McCombs, on behalf of the many people that your donation will serve, I want to thank you. It really is a gracious, magnanimous, beneficent gift that you've given. And it really speaks volumes about your character, because it's a transcendent act to be able to give graciously like this. And it's an honor for me to accept this the way you've given it. So thank you again.
Mrs. Orozco.
Now, I know Mr. McCombs alluded to his wife being involved with the school, but what he failed to mention was that he was a school board member. And actually, Mr. McCombs, I have the school board in my yearbook. So you were a school board member when I was in high school. But thank you so much.
And Mr. Na, did you want to?
Yes. Mr. McComb, I'll tell our youth all the time, I want you to grow up like become a Mr. McComb. Because you've been here for all these years, and I still remember you gave me so many advices when I was first elected, and really kept me going for the last 10 years. So thank you for you and your wife. You guys are truly the blessing for our community. And I pray for your health all the time, and I want you to continue to be with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Don, do you want to get them to stand right here in front? Or you got it? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now we have the Measure G update. Dr. Infield, would you introduce the next and final presentation?
Yeah, this evening I'm excited to have Mrs. Sandra Chin and Mr. Greg Stature to present a presentation on Measure G to go over the progress that we've made so far. So tonight, Board, I think you'll get a thorough presentation on Measure G.
Yay.
As soon as the monitors gets warmed up, we can start. President Fikes, members of the board, Superintendent Enfield, thank you for the opportunity to bring you an update on Measure G. Dr. Enfield is excited about this, and so are we. There we go. Got one side ready to go. Okay. So tonight we've got 4 objectives that we want to make sure we address for the board. In order to go forward in giving you a thorough landscape of where Measure G is today, we thought we'd take a little step backwards and refresh your memory of what led us to this point. So we're going to talk a little bit about the facilities master plan that was put together back in 2016 and how that led to where we are today. Then we're going to dive right into an update on Measure G projects that have commenced to date, talk a little bit about where our funding has been on Measure G, and then where we go from here. So first, you'll remember this binder right here that WLC Architects prepared for us. This is the 2016 Facilities Master Plan that was put together with many people's effort. I want to orient you to the way that we have split up this Facilities Master Plan. If you take a look at it, everything in the Facilities Master Plan is really categorized in these 5 areas. We've got new construction, which includes the construction or reconstruction of new schools. We've got the modernization category in the Facilities Master Plan, which modernizes schools that are of age, 25 years or older. We also have a safety and security component, which I know is of top priority to our district and to you. Additionally, we have the category called additions, renovations, and improvements. This is really the category, the big ticket category, where it really includes the additions or renovations to the sites. And this is a culmination of effort by the stakeholders who were involved in the meetings at the time the Facilities Master Plan was prepared. And lastly, we have the furniture category. And although there's a separate category for furniture, I do want to clarify that we are not going out to bid on furniture for the entire school district. It just is not frugal to do so, and it's not ideal because we want to modernize the spaces first. And as projects are in action and they're coming to a completion, we will outfit these spaces with new furniture. And you'll recall that the Facilities Master Plan was built on 6 guiding principles: safety and security, technology, evolution, maintenance, parity, and sustainability. We want to make sure that all of our school sites are secured from the perimeter with the most up-to-date technology, that connectivity is served throughout the campus. We want to make sure that our facilities can also evolve with the latest instructional technologies, and making sure that we take a proactive stance when it comes to maintenance of our facilities. And of course, very importantly, we want to make sure that any improvements we put into our school sites involves parity across the school sites. As you know, we have 35 sites, so that's a lot to achieve. And making sure that any projects we put into place are sustainable over a long period of time. So starting with the new construction category, what I want to outline for you here is a list of projects that were included in the Facilities Master Plan. So under new construction, there was an inclusion. We discussed the need to reconstruct Chino High School. We also discussed the need of a second school in our preserve community and a possible future elementary school somewhere in our growth zone. I don't want you to focus too much on the dollar amounts, as those were the numbers estimated 2 years ago. And as we know, those are no longer the case, but it gives us a frame, a ballpark of what type of needs we were talking about. The next category is modernization. In this current stage of our capital facilities program, we have 11 schools that are of age. And as you can see, most of these schools are in the Chino Hills area, except Cattle Elementary. And that is because under Measure M, which was 12 years, no, that was more than 12 years ago, that was 16 years ago, we addressed most of the modernization efforts at the schools that were in Chino. Under the safety security component, you will see this chart that lists all of our schools. The gray being all of our elementary schools, the light blue, all of our junior highs and K-8s, and the dark blue are 5 high schools. Every school will have a safety security component. I know this is of top priority to the board, and as we get into the updates later on, you'll see where we are with each of them. This is the big ticket item, category that I spoke to earlier, the addition of renovation and site improvement. Again, all school sites under the facilities master plan identified certain buildings or certain additions that were necessary to increase or enhance the learning environment of the school sites. This category may include a brand new NPR, a brand new science wing at the school sites, or a gymnasium, or aquatic center. I'm naming just a few. And that's why, or replacement of portables across the board. And that's why this category is a really high dollar amount of roughly over $600 million. So as you can see, when we add up all those categories, the estimated total back then at the time was over $1 billion. And that established the base needs for our district at that time. And thus the effort began with former Superintendent Joseph, thank you for being here, and the stakeholders at the school sites, our facilities team and architect went out to the school sites and began the effort of campaigning for a bond. So just refreshing your memory on the timelines. In November 2016, the bond measure of $750 million was passed by our voters. A few months after that, in January, you graciously approved the implementation of first 2 series of the bonds. So we are not able to implement, obviously, all of the projects at the time. So the program was divvied up into multiple series. And I will share with you in just a moment what Series 1 will look like. February 2017, our Citizens Oversight Committee was formed, and I know many of the members are here in the audience today. The month after, the board approved the sale of our first issuance. And May of last year, we received the funding of $208 million of the $750 million. So that's considered Series 1 of Measure G. So this is a picture of the thermometer. I certainly do not expect you to see the fine print on the thermometer, but just to bring, refresh your memory of what was it that you had approved back then. There were 2 thermometers, Series 1 and 2, and this one is Series 1. And you'll see that projects included in Series 1 were in those categories that we discussed earlier. New construction, modernization of schools, safety security, addition renovation, and a sprinkling of furniture into those projects. So from there, what I'm going to do is turn it over to Mr. Satura, who is going to walk us through, in each of those categories, what projects were under Series 1 that we have begun.
Thank you, Sandra. Good evening, everybody. So, 2016 Facilities Master Plan and the categories. We start with new construction. And new construction at this point consists of the reconstruction of Chino High School and potentially the construction of Preserve School number 2 in the Preserve community. With Chino High School, we have a number of phases, and we are currently in the bidding and award phase for Phase 0. And let me back up here. Phase 0 at the site. And then DSA is currently reviewing plans for Phases 1 and 2. And that is an aerial view of the existing campus as it sits today. This is the rendering from WLC Architects of the new school site. And we will begin with Phase 0, which consists of relocating some existing athletic fields, renovating existing athletic fields, and just moving things to make way for the new school site, which will be built where the existing fields sit today. And that is Phase 1, which is the administration wing, the classroom buildings, and the library, as well as the parking facilities on the north side of the new campus. Phase 2 will cover the rest of the campus. Includes the PE facilities, gymnasium, the aquatic center, the theater, and other related facilities to complete the school site. Now going back to Phase 1, this is the site plan for what's being renovated or refurbished. We've got the varsity baseball field, will receive some work. The varsity softball field, where it currently sits today, is in the way of the new building. So it's being moved closer to the varsity baseball field in the same footprint of where the existing junior varsity baseball field sits. And then there will be some track and field facilities built into that area as well. Additionally, and I wish I had a pointer that, well, I have a pointer that works, but this LED screen just sucks up the color of the pointer. So the new concession building that will be shared by the boys and the girls teams there, as well as the underground utilities and infrastructure that will feed the new school site. There's a number of electrical lines that are in the way that need to be relocated to make room for the new buildings. This is another rendering of the new campus, looking from the south end, or I'm sorry, from the north end, looking to the south. Yet another rendering of the library building, as well as an interior view of the library. And from what I've seen from WLC Architects, their renderings are pretty well spot on to what's going to get built. So, and that's a testament to Jim and what they do. So, this is a interior rendering of the office area and library. And then as far as additional reconstruction or additional construction goes, we jump into the Cal Aero or the preserved community area. Currently at the top of the screen there, encircled in red, is the existing Cal Aero Preserve Academy campus. You've got Main Street that runs north and south from the Cal Aero campus. It intersects Pine Avenue there directly in the middle, and then directly south of Pine Avenue is where the new school site will be at some point located. That is the land that's been set aside by the Lewis Company for the school site. And then East Preserve Loop is there to the right or to the east side. And that is the new school site location. Again, another rendering of the school site campus. There has not been any real design work. The buildings you see there to the left, those would be city facilities. And then that is also a city park there, which would be to the north of the school site. And it's currently in the planning phase. There's been some discussions that have taken place, but we're still in the planning phase for that. So the second category then is modernization. The scope for modernization consists of a number of things, but as WLC has said in the past, there's the have-tos and the want-tos. So the have-tos are the code requirements, and that consists of ADA accessibility requirements required by the state to improve access from the parking lots, the sidewalks, the thresholds going into the classrooms, drinking fountains, and restroom accessibility, the wheelchair lift on the stage, fire alarm upgrades, possible revision of existing fire sprinklers, and then possibly some structural upgrades as well. And then the want-tos, or the basic needs, then are replacing and upgrading HVAC systems, energy management systems, roofing, electrical and plumbing infrastructure. That could be repiping, bringing in new electrical service to the campus, replacement of doors, water heaters, seismic items as needed, and then a replacement of finishes, whether that be floor finishes, wall finishes, ceiling finishes, lighting throughout, both interior and exterior, repainting, and then, as Sandra mentioned, a sprinkling of new furniture in the modernization sites as they are completed. Now, as far as the phases of modernization go, in Series 1 issuance of bond funds, we have Phase 1, which will cover Cattle Elementary, Lytle Elementary, Oak Ridge Elementary, and then Phase 2, which covers Country Springs, Rolling Ridge, and Ayala High School. There's a second group of schools in Series 2 that's currently in design: Butterfield, Eagle Canyon, Hidden Trails, Canyon Hills, and Townsend Junior High School. Now, as far as the modernization goes and the buildings that will be modernized, everything that you see there, and this is Cattle, and we're currently in the bid and award phase, everything you see there on the map that's in dark red, those are the buildings that will receive the heavy modernization work. The building to the south there in the orange, that is the new classroom wing that was built under Measure M. It may receive some technology upgrades and things to bring it up to par with the rest of the campus as it's finished. This is Lytle, currently in the bid and award phase. And same thing, the dark red buildings there are what will be modernized. And I should also say that the three schools, Cattle, Lytle, and Oak Ridge, will also be bringing in portable classrooms to serve as interim housing. So while a block of classes moves out into the portables, those classrooms will then be modernized. We have DSA approval of the buildings at Cattle. We're going to be bidding them shortly. Within the next month, we'll hopefully have an award of a bid to bring to you to get that work started. And then Lytle Oak Ridge. Lytle Elementary was just approved by DSA today for interim housing, and Oak Ridge is going to DSA next week. So as things progress with DSA approval, we'll be bidding these. So now moving on to Oak Ridge. Same thing again, the buildings in dark red are the buildings that will be modernized. And then we've got some interior renderings of classroom spaces, and basically what you see there would be new finishes, flexible furniture, and then instructional technology throughout. And this is just a typical classroom. In Phase 2, Country Springs and Rolling Ridge. And basically they are the same site, but just like the other three schools shown, or the buildings shown in dark red, are what will be modernized. And this is Country Springs. We're currently in the DSA review phase, and we expect DSA approval within the next month or two. And this is Rolling Ridge. And then again, some renderings of the interior. This would be a potential computer lab at one of the sites. Ayala High School modernization. Like the others, the dark red is what's being modernized. We've relocated 12 portable classrooms from where that yellow square is to the field area, and then where the yellow square is will be the new science lab that will be built, two-story building. The portables have been relocated. They were occupied as of the first day of school this week, and construction will be starting shortly as soon as our bids are opened on the science lab building. And then this is just a rendering of a computer lab for Ayala High School. And with that, I will now turn it over to Martin Silvera, our Director of MOC, to talk about security.
Thank you, Greg. Good evening, everybody. So under the safety and security, back to that same matrix where it shows all the sites that we are going to be addressing safety and security in the groups. This slide shows some of the components that we have addressed and also implemented. So we have single point of entry modifications, keyless access control hardware, security cameras, intrusion alarm upgrades, and the public address system. Some of the upgrades that have already been completed, single point of entry, we're at 96%. proud of that. Keyless access, Chaparral Elementary, Levi Dickey Elementary, and Rhodes Elementary are complete. The security cameras, we have Liberty and Woodcrest that have systems in place, as well as Don Lugo High School. Intrusion system, Liberty and Woodcrest are complete. And under the PA systems, we're at about 96%, so close to completion there. So group one, the safety and security. The high schools are going to be the first group that goes out, and we're right on schedule. We're right on schedule. The next group will be tied to the modernization schools, and get those rolled out at the same time. I just drew a blank. The junior highs. So that's the next group. And then as we dive into the last schools of the modernization, and then finally completion of the safety and security upgrades for all the schools.
Thanks. Okay, so now we're at additions and renovations and site work. And like the other matrices you've seen, we've got the same basic layout of schools. If you recall, the board approved moving forward with renovation additions to science labs. So Ramona and Magnolia, we will be renovating existing science labs, and Briggs is receiving a new science building. The first two schools, Ramona and Magnolia, did not need a new science building. They just needed existing buildings renovated to get them on par with everything else. And then Ayala High School, we added the science building there, and then the board recently gave direction to use Measure G funding for renovation of the El Rancho school site in preparation for the Allegiance campus. This is a site plan of Briggs. If you've been by there anytime this week, you'll see a brand new parking lot out front with 2 driveways now instead of the 1, which was a nightmare from what I understand for parents.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe not as much of a nightmare anymore, but the parking lot is complete. The new science building, once it's complete, it will consist of 8 classrooms, and the graphic to the right there shows the breakdown of the floor plan itself. And then that's a rendering of exterior view of the science building, and Jim says it's going to look just like that. Yeah. Magnolia Junior High School renovation, the building there that's highlighted in yellow, that is the science building, and then that's a breakdown of the floor plan. It consists of 8 classrooms. 6 of those are science rooms, and they will be fully renovated. And then like Magnolia, Ramona Junior High School, same thing. The purple building there is the building to receive renovations, and then there's the floor plan. And then that is a rendering of a interior of a science lab. There's only three students, though, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Minimum day, okay. Another rendering, another view. Ayala High School, the new science building, the building there in green will be the new science wing. 2 stories, total of 7 rooms on each floor, along with restrooms and have an elevator, of course. But that is the floor plan there. And then another beautiful rendering of the exterior of the building. No pressure, Jim. A rendering of the interior. And back to Sandra.
So as you can see, we've been pretty busy. And this is a chart that shows the summary of what was just discussed with you, all the projects under Series 1. And this slide, I program it in such a way so that I could keep my head straight, and I hope it will help you as well. So you can see that Chino High School, under new construction, is in multiple phases right now. part of that phase zero of that school is under bid and ready to be awarded. Phase 1 and 2 is currently under DSA for review. And typically that review period is more than 6 months. So I don't want you to think that phase 1 and 2 is going to be out to the road for, out on the street for bidding soon. The next category is the modernization. That's the phasing of the 11 schools. We've got 3 ready to go out for bid and award on the interim housing. We've got 2 currently under DSA for review, and the remaining 6 in the design phase. For the security and safety measure, you've heard Martin speak earlier about this. Even though they are split in the different groups, our goal, of course, is to expedite those projects as quickly as possible because it has to do with security of our schools. And then lastly, under the renovation addition phases, we've got 4 schools that have commenced with Ayala High School Science Wing under DSA for review, and then the other 3 still being designed. And then we spoke earlier about our preserve school number 2, currently in the planning stage. Now, I know, of course, you are interested in how much money has been expended since we received $208 million. We will be accounting, or actually we've been accounting for the project expenditures in detail, still in those categories that we mentioned earlier, under those categories by school, by project. You can see in this, we also added an extra column of costs. It's called general program costs. In order to manage such a massive program, inevitably there will be costs that are necessary to oversee the program. There are costs associated with the cost of issuance of bonds. Those costs will be captured in that category. And you'll see here that you've got bond issuance of about $400,000. You've got some additional legal audit election costs. And these costs will increase as we move forward on the issuance of future future issuances under Measure G. There's also a category of payroll. There are some individuals in the school district that are funded specifically out of Measure G because their sole job is to assist with Measure G. And we'll go over that in a bit. So altogether, as of the end of the last fiscal year, we've expended a total of $15.6 million. And I assure you, we keep track of these dollars to the pennies. We want to make sure that we can be held accountable and that we can tell you exactly where the dollars went. Here's another recap. We started out with $208 million. Since the end of last fiscal year, we've accrued $2.5 million in interest. So our beginning balance was $210. After expending in those categories, we are ending with roughly just under $195 million with all those projects ready to go. The road ahead is not going to be status quo. Nothing stays consistent. Well, practically the only change is the change itself, right? The only thing constant is the change in itself. So I itemized some factors here to remind us that these are the variables that we will encounter as we move forward in this program. This is going to be a program that lasts at least 10 years. The economy is certainly going to change in that cycle. So will the demographics. And when our demographics change, our project needs might change. The needs that were captured in the facilities master plan might change. And when those change, we will change with it. The construction climate, we were just informed by our CM this morning that there is a variable of an increase of 5% per month currently. So you can not focus too much on those 2016 estimates, and we will bring to you updated numbers as we get closer to that stage. And if you look at that star right there, if that curve represents our economy, we are currently at the second hump. And I think everybody is hoping that the economy doesn't slow down and tank, but at some point it's going to have to come back to make the next cycle. So when that does happen, hopefully we can capture on the benefits of that and capture some better construction climate at that time. And all that to say to you, we will be proactive as we move forward on the program and minding these factors. And of course, this program is going to be managed by more than just the 3 people you heard from today. We have a whole team of staff that support us, and we want to be transparent and show you that in this chart, The positions that are completely highlighted in teal are 100% funded by Measure G. And the positions that are half highlighted are 50% funded by Measure G. But the program itself is divided up in the planning stage, the construction stage, and administrative support. So those are the people from our district, and I know many of them are here. If you just raise your hand real quick. These are some of the faces behind those positions. And we are also supported and augmented by our very fabulous construction teams, beginning, of course, with our fabulous architect of record, Jim DeCamillo's in the audience, and he is accompanied by the 3 construction management firms that the board has approved to support Series 1 Measure G. And you can see that each of the firm there has already been awarded the projects that we just discussed, and they will be supporting us from the beginning to the end of completion. I know you're all in the audience. If you're here representing one of the CM companies, if you could show a hand. And of course, our Citizens Oversight Committee will be watching us closely on every project that moves forward, every dollar spent. And I know many of them are in the audience. If you're here from COC, please raise your hand. And I know some of them are stuck in the lobby, so I'm sorry I can't introduce all of you. But we are looking for, we do have a vacancy on the committee. We are looking for a business rep. We help get the words out. We have a vacancy. And with that, we conclude our presentation to you. I know it's only 60 slides. I know you wish we had 40 slides more of pictures. We'll bring that to you next time.
Mr. Na.
Yeah, when I speak to parents and our stakeholders, their main concern, especially nowadays, is regards to the safety. And it's great to see that we have one point of entrance, and that's going to protect our children in a great manner. However, even though we're spending $1 million, I haven't seen anything that regards to our personnel, especially our security personnel. I'd like to see updating their equipments, from walkie-talkies to bullet vest, if it's viable, something that is part with our SROs. If we don't have investment on our security personnel, sometimes our buildings could fail, our doors can fail, but we would need protection of our security guards so they could protect our staffs and our students. So I'd like to ask Dr. Enfield if we could have a presentation of updating plan for our security personnel in near future, which it should also include training with our police departments, so that if something do happen, we could work as one body, and in those emergency cases, every second would count. So I think it's going to greatly benefit our school district if we have the best support for our security personnel. Thank you.
Mrs. Orozco.
But I just want to clarify that training and that type of thing cannot come out of measure, or the bond money, is that correct? So it would come out of our general fund?
Correct.
That's correct. We will we will review that separately from Measure G.
Right, okay. But I wanted to thank you for the presentation. I know there are some other questions that I had shared with you that I'll follow up with you later, but thank you so much for doing this and for giving us some dollar amounts. You know me, I like the dollar amounts. But so thank you.
Any other, Mr.
Yeah, you know, for Chino High School, you know, I'm excited with the library, because the library is the hub of the school. And not only it contains library books, but it's more than that. It's a media place where people can socialize. So in that in mind, the library is going to be very multi-dynamic. And I assume it will be changing continuously. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And also I was wondering for Measure G, I'm going to say something, maybe it came from my imagination of this term, but something called Raptor system. Was that part of Measure G? Because that was such a great idea. I think that was awesome.
Yes, the Raptor system was funded with Measure G. It is fully in place at all 35 of our school sites, being used as of this past Monday. But essentially, it is a system that any visitor or volunteer that shows up at the campus, they swipe their driver's license or ID card. It prints them, checks sex offender databases throughout the state, and then prints them, if they're authorized to proceed, prints them a ID badge with their picture on it, and then they are let into the campus.
That's very good. So great job. And also, I was thinking more of the teachers. You know, when they move from their portable, what is the duration of all that stuff? We're talking about 2 months away from their classroom, because there is that distraction, right? Teachers leaving from their classroom, going to a portable. So that would be like 6 months, I would suspect.
The duration will hopefully be 6 to 8 weeks maximum per phase.
Well, that's not bad.
And we will try to hit the breaks. Thanksgiving break, Christmas break,
I see.
spring break, to make those, we do the work, make the move on those breaks.
And also, you mentioned the keyless. That is a good idea, because people do lose their keys in certain degree of a master key. And when they lose it, they screw up the whole school system. So with that, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Correct.
So that's a good idea.
Let me add, the bigger benefit to the keyless system is that
Money.
each site, when it's complete, will have a lockdown button in the office. So if they need to lock the school down, they hit the button, they lock all doors on campus immediately.
Oh, that is very good. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Well, that, and it doesn't cost the site
Correct.
when you lose your keys.
Miss, are you,
No, the presentation was well done. It took time, I noticed, so thank you.
Mrs. Blair?
Since you addressed the Raptor system, I was going to save this question for my board comments, but since you brought it up, for parents who are undocumented, who don't have a driver's license, what process have we implemented so that they can still volunteer and participate in their child's education?
My understanding from our Director of Risk Management is that they can show any form of identification, and it can be manually entered into the system, and then they will be granted access if they are in the system.
Thank you.
In conclusion, I really appreciate everybody who came tonight. We didn't call you out by name, but we appreciate having you here, and I appreciate all the hours that you're spending on this most worthy project for our community. So thank you very much. And even though school just started a few days ago, I know you're sorry to be leaving, Mr. Joseph. So sorry.
Kudos to your superintendent for the great video he had at the beginning of school. I want to tell you that he and Ivy Perry did a great job on that video. Although at the end of the video, I thought that maybe the Lakers should have gotten him instead of LeBron James. But great job.
Even though school started just a few days ago, joining us for the first time tonight is Student Representative Alexi Magallanes from Chino High School. Alexi, welcome to the school board. We hope you find your year as student representative valuable, and I know you're prepared to make comments, so I'll give you the floor.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Alexi Magallanes, and I am a senior at Chino High School. So I have some updates on how the first day of school went at all of the high schools. So the 2018 to 2019 school year was kicked off at Ruben S. Ayala High School by USB arriving at 6 a.m. to welcome back returning students and greet the new freshmen before the start of the day. Freshmen went to their first period classes, then attended an assembly in the gym for 3 periods where guest speaker, author, and former USB director Richard Parkhouse spoke about the importance of spirit. The incoming class of 2022 at Ayala committed to graduating by signing each name on a red graduation robe. During this time, the rest of campus attended their classes as scheduled, except for one where they attended a rules assembly by class. At Chino High School, the day started at 5:30 a.m. with the senior sunrise, in which the seniors enjoyed breakfast, music, and the sunrise as they wrote letters to their future selves. Students were greeted on campus with the High Five Highway, consisting of all of the leadership groups on campus, staff, and the school mascots. Inside of the gym, students were able to hear Dee Hankins, a motivational speaker, tell his story, and express the importance in resilience. Out in the stadium, the students were able to compete in class competitions and chants while also preparing for the school year ahead and learning about upcoming events. To end the day, the marching band marched around campus to signal the end of the first day of school. For Chino Hills High School, the morning also began early with their senior sunrise, which had an attendance of 200 seniors. For the first day of school, they really wanted the freshmen to feel welcome, so the freshmen had a day called Lean Crew Day, where they played games and took tours of the campus. As for the sophomore, junior, and senior classes, they watched a video about the school rules and attended their classes. Don Lugo High School started off by greeting and handing out Class of 2022 shirts to every single freshman in the gym. They played a couple of rally games and taught them their spell out. After, they had a school-wide Olympic where all of the homerooms competed in a series of challenges. The finals were held in the stadium where students cheered on the remaining groups. Next, they went to the gym and listened to a motivational speaker, the amazing Ty Street. And lastly, they had a school-wide lunch where the staff provided hot dogs for every student. Thank you.
Alexi, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate how prepared you are and how thoroughly you represented the entire school district. Great start.
Very impressive. We're now at comments from employee representatives. Yvette Farley, Champ President. Without the boot. We're so happy
no
to
heels.
see you without the boot.
But still no heels, and it's depressing me. Good evening, President Fikes, Superintendent Dr. Enfield, Cabinet, board members. Thank you, Lexi. That she was already describing half the things I was going to describe of all the wonderful things that we're starting up. So many schools reported having a great opening. Students, parents, and staff celebrated the first day with enthusiasm, welcoming smiles and cheers, and a team of greeters from board members, district office, classified and certificated. What a great way to start, watching the students come in with their parents, high fives. It was fantastic. We had, I want to thank Don Lugo, Ramona, and Marshall, and Cal Arrow, who extended an open invitation to allow us to be a part of their first day of school. So I want to thank them. They did a fabulous job for their back to school. This was a milestone for me because it was the first year in 30 years that I was not assigned to a site on that first day of school. So having not have ownership of one site, I was also pleasantly surprised to be able to participate in several sites opening day. And so I really appreciated that. But at the same time, at 30 years, kind of missed that student interaction. Some highlights we have on part of our administrative team, the PBIS team at Walnut Elementary School, Principal Karen Morales, Michael Rodriguez, the assistant principal, and Chris Ives, the instructional coach, will be lead presenters in the PBIS conference that is being held September 24th and 25th in Sacramento. So it's a great acknowledgement for them to be lead presenters. That's awesome. So I want to congratulate them on that. Also at Eagle Canyon Elementary School, Principal Lori Warner, along with her teacher, one of her teachers, Amanda Array, and their instructional coach as well will be lead presenters at the NEU, No Excuse University Conference that's being held in Las Vegas, and that is in October. So 2 elementary schools doing administrative staffs along with their certificated personnel are out there representing Chino Valley Unified School District in California. So I'd like to give them an acknowledgement. Another acknowledgement, please be on the lookout for an increase of administrators who will be earning their doctorate degree, either finishing up their doctorate degree, have started their doctorate degree, or have one more year left on their doctorate degree. And we have several administrators in a program right now, so PhD doctorate holders are on our way at CVUSD. So excited about that. And last but not least, we have
Axon Region 12 nominations for Administrator of the Year is now open, and anyone can nominate an administrator or make some suggestions. We love to see when CVUSD is recognized. It's an early open invitation now, so it's starting in August, and the application nomination forms will be due, I believe, in December. And last but not least, to our certificated, classified, and administrative team. The world is brimming with unlimited choices and remarkable opportunities. Many of us find ourselves in major transitions, whether personal or professional. There has never been a better time to develop your skills in managing change. In the end, it all comes down to a matter of choice. We can choose to be reactive and at the mercy of a world that appears threatening, but I say choose to be open to life and its remarkable possibilities. We can choose to be defensive and protective. I say choose to live with the new spring in our step and spirit, eyes that truly see, ears that really hear, and a heart that can feel the wonder and celebrate the magnificent mystery that is life. On behalf of CHAMP, I wish our CVUSD a wonderful 2018-19 school year, and may the decisions and the actions we make this year help guide our students to uncovering their true identity and realizing their dreams. So, welcome back, and thank you for all your support that you give our community.
Thank you. Brenda Walker, ACT President.
Good evening, President Fikes, board members, Superintendent Enfield, District Cabinet, members of the Chino Valley community, and guests. My name is Brenda Walker, President of Associated Chino Teachers. I'm honored to serve as a representative of the teachers, speech pathologists, nurses, psychologists, and counselors for our district. We serve all the students in our district from early childhood through adult education. I follow our recently retired former association president, Steve Ball, who did a great job of building a spirit of collaboration between the association and the district, and I look forward to continuing that collaboration. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Dr. Enfield, cabinet members, and district staff. I appreciate your best wishes and support as I transition into this new role. To CSEA President Danny Hernandez, CSEA members and administrators, I look forward to working closely with you to support our students and educators. Our association stands proudly behind its mission to seek academic and professional excellence. We embrace this mission each day as we focus our attention on educating all students and supporting each other as professionals, sharing our expertise with one another. Each year, we as educators know that there may be new programs, systems, and methods that will be introduced to work more efficiently, and most importantly, to help our students to become both college and career ready. We appreciate that educators sit on district committees to provide our invaluable input on a regular basis, and we appreciate the time and trainings that we are given to implement any changes. The new school year has gotten off to a good start, and I want to thank the educators that ACT represents for your tireless work to ensure that our students in our district receive high-quality instruction as well as physical and emotional support. Thank you, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Danny Hernandez, CSEA President.
Good evening, President Fikes, board members, Dr. Enfield, and cabinet members. I'd like to first, Brenda Walker, thank you very much and welcome. It's an interesting ride so far. I'd like to start off by thanking Dr. Enfield and cabinet and the board. We got 4 brand new custodians at the high schools. We heard the students. The cleanliness and needing them well stocked was well heard, and it's very much appreciated. We know there's more questions that we have answers for, but we very much appreciate the new staff members there. It was mentioned earlier too about the Raptor system. Our ultimate goal is the safety of the students, staff members, and community. The rollout seemed to go with a little bit of hiccups, but with just like everything else and change, it's a work in progress. But the school sites, especially the clerical staff, really appreciated that it was finally time, and they really liked it. Dr. Infield, your video was very much well received by all classified staff, certificated staff, administration, and students. It was nice. I got a lot of comments, very positive comments about it was nice to be included because sometimes others might feel that we're not. But it was welcoming new students to the district of all ages, that everybody had a hand. Everybody had a hand in bringing this school year together. So it was very much appreciated. One thing they wanted to make sure is they're looking forward to the next installments of the video. Part of what's in the agenda also tonight is the instructional material that needs to reach our students. I just want to make the board and cabinet aware that we have women and men throughout the district that put those things together, that either print it, package it, or deliver it at all of our school sites so that when the kids come to school that they're there within a relatively close period of time. I thought this had changed over time, but obviously I was incorrect. We have one individual at the PDC which brings in our books, scans them, gets them ready to be delivered. That's continually been at 11 months. It's time for that to change. Same thing with the warehouse. The men there package it, get it ready to go and deliver it to the school sites. But we have 2 of those also that are 11 months. It's, again, time to bring them to the full 12 months. Also, I wanted to congratulate Mr. Rideout for being named the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. And like his comments, his acceptance comments, is a lot of times we think that we need to have a combative relationship with the district, with HR, but it's not. It is truly building bridges so that we can have a collaborative relationship. And it's so nice because I'm all for advocating for promoting from within. I think he has very good role models in Dr. Infield, Dr. Park, and Leah Fellows as 3 previous assistant superintendents of human resources. So it was a very good decision. I applaud you in that, and we look forward to helping build those bridges. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Community Liaisons Communications. Mr. Bennett, Chino Hills City Council.
Well, good evening, President Fikes, Dr. Enfield, trustees, and staff and superintendents, and the people in the audience tonight. Welcome to school year 2018-19. You know, as those seniors, the class of 19, are just waiting with bated breath to graduate, I'm thinking, I'm really feeling old. That will be my 54th high school graduation. So yeah. But it beats the alternative, that's for a fact. A few things happening in the community recently. This a week ago Tuesday, on August 9th, was the National Night Out. This is an activity that is celebrated across the nation. It is encouraged for neighborhoods to get together and have basically block parties and promote the Neighborhood Watch program. It also gets the neighborhoods to be able to meet police officers, their elected officials, and their fire staff that circulate within the neighborhood. This year was a great success. We had 21 events and over 1,100 people participated, so it was really great. Just so everyone knows, we are dark in the next council meeting on August 28th, so we will have no council meeting. Just so people that can't get to a council meeting would like to know a little bit about City Hall and what goes on, we're going to be having a pop-up City Hall this Saturday, the 18th, from 9 to noon at the Smartin Final on Chino Hills Parkway and Pipeline. We'll have staff there, city staff, and a few of our elected officials will be there talking about emergency preparedness, a sample of a disaster kit, informational material, promoting emergency preparedness workshops that are coming up on September 20th at the community center, and also free survival whistle and essential emergency things. And the police will be there also to get general city information. You know, we're real big on youth sports and providing activities for our kids to, when they're not in school, to be able to keep busy. The Grand Avenue Park is going to be reopening on August 22nd. The artificial turf is now installed, and we'll kick off the new soccer season on new fields with the temporary ceremony on Wednesday, August 22nd at 5:45. And also in keeping with keeping our kids and promoting the VAPA, the Visual Arts and Performing Arts, Chino Hills Community Foundation are going to be, in conjunction with Rock Stars of Tomorrow, are going to be giving a free concert on Friday the 24th at Chino Hills Community Center. This is on Peyton across from Mayella High School. You should bring a blanket and a lawn chair. From 7 to 7:30, Abnormal Joy, a teenage all-girl band, will be playing pop hits. And from 8 to 9, Minor Strut. So again, promoting our kids in our neighborhoods to go ahead and perform and give them some opportunity to perform in front of people. And a great fun night for everybody to be there. Again, trying to promote people to do things that are fun hobbies and that. We're going to be having a photo contest where the deadline for submittal is going to be August 29th. There are going to be 3 categories. If you like to take pictures, your kids like to take pictures, we're going to have categories of outdoors, community life, and parks and recreation. The winners will be recognized at the Fall Artist Reception, and their photos will be displayed at the Community Center Art Show from October to December. And there are also prizes up to $250 in gift cards. For application and contest rules, please go to chinohills.org/photo contest. Now tonight I just wanted to comment that having Al McCombs here was fantastic. The gentleman is now, I'm not sure, what is it, 94, 96, something like that. But you talk about someone who is a fixture in this community. The fact that he gave that donation to Hope, and as for those of you who don't understand, Hope is helping our people every day. Well, think about this. Getting a $10,000 donation is going to be helping them every day into the future for quite some time. So kudos and sincere thanks to Al McComb for doing that, and to Wayne Joseph, who is the founder of that group. I'm very proud to say I've been involved with it since its inception, and we can't say enough about it. It's hard to believe that in these days and times that we have kids in our district that are homeless, that don't have clothes to go to school with, go to bed hungry at night. When it gets to be rainy weather, which we all say, yeah, it's great, we love to have rain in our area, but when they go home wet from getting to school because they're walking, they have no way to dry off. And as Liz was saying, we've already reached out to 600 kids. It's amazing. Both the city of Chino Hills and the city of Chino support this financially, and we hope that anybody that's listening to this would likewise, if you have donations of things, we have resource centers at different locations. In Chino Hills, that happens to be the old Los Serranos Elementary School on Pipeline. You can take things there and contribute food items and clothing items, bedding. These are all great things. We're all in this for the same thing. This school district, whether you agree with everything that goes on or not, is all about the kids. And this board, the staff, the teachers, they love your kids. They do everything they can to make sure that they are safe each day. That's what Measure G is. One of the primary objectives is $55 million being invested in security. Now, a lot of this will take a little bit of time because, as they were saying, if you're going to have single point of entry, not all schools right now. If you've been to a lot of the campuses in the school district, you have to kind of move around to get to the office to be checked in. Well, during modernization and that, they're going to be reconfiguring things. They'll be securing the perimeter of the schools, and you'll have easy, quick access to the office. So it'll take a little bit of time, but there's clearly a commitment by this board to make your kids' experience at school safe. And the teachers, from them, they want to make it fun, and they want it educational, and they want to send as many as your kids as possible on to college or to a successful career as an adult. So kudos to the board and to the school district. I am absolutely thrilled. I've got two of my grandsons are graduates of Ayala High School, and I will put this school district's education up against any private school around. You guys do a great job. So that's what I have for tonight. Welcome back. Continue to do the job you do, and our kids will be in great shape. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez from Chino City Council.
Good evening, President Fikes, Superintendent Enfield, Cabinet, and supporting staff, families, and guests. A few weeks ago, I met with Dr. Enfield with the possibility of creating an initiative, of which I'm calling Alignment Chino, and it will be a college career trades pathway for the high schools, and it would also include adult schools. I think it's a great opportunity to give all students, including adults, opportunities for choices for careers and so forth. This is being supported by our Senator, Connie Leva, and myself, and I look forward to working with Curriculum Instruction and with Dr. Enfield and the rest of the cabinet here at the district. Two other announcements too. Within the coming week, the annual Portuguese Festival, which has been going on since I can remember, will begin August 21st through the 27th, with the parade being on the 26th and a dinner right here at the old DES Hall, which was originally the basketball court for the Chino Unified School District at that time. Then the following week, we will have the Basque Picnic. Now, the Basque community will be celebrating 50 years being in the community of Chino, and they are also going to have a parade on September 2nd, which is Sunday. They are bringing in musicians from France, so it should be a really nice celebration for the entire community, not just Chino Hills, and in the Inland Empire. So I look forward once again to work with the district. Great opening. I live right around the corner from E.J. Marshall. Those panels look very nice, and we're all doing a really good job. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. In our audience tonight is Ruben Valencia from Ontario City Council. Oh, he left. Well, we were going to welcome him. He's still welcome. Is Mike Krieger here from the Fire Board? No. All right. Melissa Campani, I thought I saw her. Oh, Suzette. Do you have a presentation, Suzette, from Superintendent Hagman's office? Supervisor Hagman's office.
Yes. Good evening.
Sorry.
No, not at all. Good evening, President Fikes, members of the board, Dr. Enfield, staff members, and audience members. My name is Suzette Deng with County Supervisor Kurt Hagman's office. On Tuesday, July 31st, on behalf of Supervisor Kurt Hagman and the entire Board of Supervisors, we had the pleasure to present a county resolution to the James S. Thelman Chino Hills Library. I don't know if you have heard, but it was the first time in the 104-year history of San Bernardino County Library that a single branch library has checked out over 1 million items. According to the branch manager, the exact number is at 1,108,442. This is a huge milestone for the Chino Hills branch, and in line with the county's Vision to Read literacy campaign, Supervisor Hagman would like to encourage your love of reading. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. We are now at comments from the audience on items not on the agenda. Pat, Are there any requests to speak on non-agenda items?
40 requests to speak on consent, non-agenda items, 40 on non-agenda, 3 on action, and 1 on a consent item.
Okay.
No.
No.
44.
Speakers will be called in the order the request was received. Please listen for your name and be prepared to approach the podium. Any comments on agenda items will be accepted during consideration of that item. Once the board has commenced deliberations on an issue, speaker cards will not be accepted. The board is very interested in your comments, but please bear in mind that the board typically does not respond to comments during this time on the agenda, as it is reserved specifically for public comments. Individual members may respond during board comments at the end. Mrs. Blair, will you please explain the light system?
I had it on right. I think I was still shocked with the 40, and I said, I'm not going to type, I'm just going to handwrite everything. Speakers, you have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. Please begin your comments at the green light. The yellow light indicates you have 30 seconds in which to complete your comments. The red light indicates your time is over. And before you begin your comments, please adjust the microphone as necessary so that you can be clearly heard. And audience members, please refrain from making comments while speakers are at the podium.
Speakers, please remember that in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323 Bylaws of the Board Meeting Conduct, limit remarks to 3 minutes total for all remarks. If a topic has been covered, please limit remarks to new points. Board Policy 1312.1 describes the process for resolving complaints and the steps to be taken in the resolution process. The first speaker is Celine Nava, followed by Jade Anastasia, followed by Alyssa Hames.
Hello, my name is Celine Nava. Last time I spoke out in July, it was the first time not only to you and to the public, but to my parents. I came out to speak about my experience with husband to Amy Campbell, Coach Barry Apsek. You heard about the multiple times he walked in to the girls' changing room, and you listened as I told you how Barry groped my body and how he moved his hands around my thighs while pressing his head close to mine. I have had time to talk to my parents, and I have to come forward publicly in hopes that more girls come forward. Coach Barry Apsek will not stop. He was premeditated in his actions and was very methodical in his execution. In one instance, Coach Barry Apsek knocked on the door while the changing sign was up. One of my teammates had told Coach Apsek that the team was changing, then proceeded to close the door. Coach Barry Apsek then moved to get his keys from where he had left them, walked back to the room in which the team was changing, opened the door with his keys, and walked in. Coach Barry Apsek waited until I was on break from my shift during the Best of the West tournament, waited for me to be separated from my friends. What I want you to realize, this is a direct result of the culture Coach Amy Campbell created. He was bold enough to touch me in public. Coach Barry Apsek knew he was untouchable, so he touched me however he wanted. Amy Campbell had been known to say that she cannot be fired, that she is untouchable. Her husband resonates throughout the program, which also includes her coaching staff. In April of this year, Coach Amy Campbell and Athletic Director Warren Weed were made aware of the inappropriate actions of Coach Barry Apsek as he was accused of such misconduct in a private meeting. He continued to be around girls and remained on staff with no investigation and/or repercussions. No leave, no suspension. It was then clear to me what our worth was to this program. What I am about to ask you at 14 years old, I shouldn't have to ask you. May I be free from an environment of sexual misconduct? May I be free from a system that turns a blind eye to sexual misconduct? May I have someone properly investigate these allegations against these coaches? I did not choose to feel this way. I did not choose to cry myself to sleep. I am speaking out now and crying for help so that I may one day be free from the pain and the guilt I feel. You have a voice. speak up now. Thank you.
Jade Anastasia, followed by Alyssa Hames, followed by John Pappas.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jade Anastasia, and it's my pleasure to be here before you once more. I come before you because I wish to show you how all of these things have affected me. You say that you place your students first. Well, I'm a student, and I don't feel like I'm being safe right now. Like, my mom prays for me every night because she sees me cry. This is because of the ILX girls basketball program and the coach and their coaches, Amy Campbell and Barry Absacks. Please think about us, your daughters, in the decision of whether to remove these coaches. Amy Campbell was aware in April of her husband's sexual misconduct, and he remained on her staff. That should be a clear sign of the misconduct that is happening behind closed doors. We are one program, we are one team, we are Bulldogs. Most importantly, we are women. We should not be treated as stray dogs to be beaten and caged, beaten by the harmful words of Amy Campbell and her husband, caged from the feelings of helplessness, as she always tells us we can't do anything about it. Is she right? Can she continue this way and nothing be done? Coach Amy Campbell constantly berates and belittles her players, especially the ones who are not as talented. Coach Barry Absack projects his anger out on us when he is dealing with his marital strife. We are blamed by Coach Amy Campbell for his failings to teach, then get yelled at by her husband, Coach Barry Absack, when she is down yelling at him. We cannot grow in this hostile environment. Coach Summit is a decorated college coach, also Miss Campbell's idol, but she built a reputation for being tough on her women, as it is built on them, into them of the women of character. She encouraged the players and created an atmosphere that made the individuals want to learn more. When these women displayed shortcomings, Coach Summit showed them how to improve. Coach Amy Campbell falls short in many of her idol's teachings. For her to say otherwise is autocracy. There is little to no avenue of trust. She used what her players say in confidence to further hurt them. She is racist, she body shames, and demoralizes the girls to the point of hopelessness. I have seen Coach Amy Campbell bully me and my friends and tear the team apart. She is using her position as a coach to hurt vulnerable young women and build herself up. These are the things she has told us. You're weak. You're useless. When we get hurt, she tells us to stop being When we make a mistake, she calls us. When we decide to have fun, she tells us to stop around. When she gets angry, she repeatedly uses the word while yelling at our faces. We deserve better. We deserve to be free from bullying, be free from hurt, be free from fear. We deserve to be free. Thank you.
Alyssa Hames, followed by John Pappas, followed by Nathaniel Rainey.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Hames. I'm one of the players that are on Coach's team. I'm a third-year varsity player. And before I went to Ayala, I had major social anxiety, and I would probably be crying, throwing up in a corner, just being in front of you people. And Coach helped me get through that. I was bullied a lot because of my voice problem. I was bullied because of the way I looked. I was bullied because how I acted, and a lot of my friends moved away, so I was bullied because of that. People that tried to be my friends were bullied, and I was constantly told to either kill myself or leave this school because I'm not the kind of person that should be there. Coach has helped me improve my self-image about myself. I know that she's helped many others before me. I had a lot of problems, and she told me, I did not believe in any teacher. They just watched this happen. I didn't believe that any parent, any guardian, I didn't believe that any actual adult would help me besides my parents. But Coach showed me that there's people like that can help me. She showed me that I'm not stuck in this image of having my speech impediment. I'm not stuck with being a female that speaks too loud sometimes. That I can actually be who I am. She has taught me so much in the short amount of time that I've had her. And I remember I've had breakdowns in front of her before. And she never told me anything. She never told me to get over it. She's talked to me. She counseled me down. I've cried a lot in my time. And she's helped me know that that's not the way to solve things. The way to solve things is to speak your mind, to be your own person, and not to follow what others say. She has been a great, important part of my life, and she has showed me what it really means to be a woman and what it really means to be successful in life. Thank you for listening.
John Pappas, followed by Nathaniel Rainey, followed by Seth Jardine.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is John Pappas. I am a senior at Ayala High School. I am a four-year varsity starter on the baseball team, and I'm also our head of athletics for our USB, or United Student Body. And so with that title, I do work with a lot of coaches, a lot of coaching staff, and including Ms. Campbell. And I can honestly stand before you guys today and say that I would not be half the man I am today without the help of Ms. Campbell. From the very first day that I met Ms. Campbell, walking into a world history class my freshman year, she has pushed me to be the best that I can be. She has guided me through the ups and downs of high school as well as life, and she has shown me what a reliable and compassionate adult truly looks like. When I was first in her class, I would always look forward to the smiles that she would bring me as well as the other students around me. And outside of her class, I would always have a smile brought to my face just by hearing her talk with Coach Emma Lexon. And even now, 4 years later, I still look to my next meeting with Coach Campbell. Outside of myself, I believe that Ms. Campbell embodies a lot of traits that I find to be very valuable in life, as well as in coaching, as well as just life in general. Denzel Washington, during a college graduation speech, once said that ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship is. And I truly believe that Ms. Campbell has taught this to her students as well as her athletes. She has never allowed me to become complacent or lazy in anything that I have found to be personally intriguing or that I want to work hard in. Even with that being said, I still look to her for guidance in anything in life, whether that be sports, family help, athletics, academics, anything. I've always looked to her and never once have I ever been denied help. Ms. Campbell's dedication to her students can only be matched by her dedication and compassion for her athletes. Through all of her opportunities that she has come across, never once has her compassion or her dedication wavered. She has always been looking forward to teaching, looking forward to coaching. She's always had a great attitude with just me, any student around her, as well as any athlete. And I know that we as a high school, being Ruben S. Ayala High School, are extremely lucky to have her, and if she was half of a coach that she is a teacher, I know that we'd all be very lucky to have her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nathaniel Rainey, followed by Seth Jardine, followed by Kate Katashiro.
So my name is Nathaniel Rainey. I'm a student athletic trainer at Ayala High School. I've been Coach Campbell's athletic trainer for 3 years. I personally have never seen any of the allegations that are being claimed against her. I'm in the locker room with them as long as they're not changing. I'm to provide water. I help tape them. I make sure they're okay. I'm at all the practices. I'm at all the games. I've never seen any of these allegations. If I didn't have the chance to be an athletic trainer for Coach Campbell, I don't even know if I'd want to pursue this field I want to pursue now. So, thanks to Coach Campbell, I've actually pursued this field I want to go in, and next year I'm going to be going to Mount SAC to get a degree in athletic training so I can be a certified athletic trainer. Our certified athletic trainer was not able to come tonight, but she asked me to say a couple words on her behalf. She said, Coach Campbell has been nothing but welcoming. This is my first official year as a certified athletic trainer for Ruben S. Ayala High School. Even during my time as a sub at Ayala, she has been nothing but accepting of me and welcomed me with open arms. She's the first coach to ever help me out at Ayala High School and made sure I always had what I needed. So I personally do not think that Coach Campbell should not be gone because she is strict, but she's fair. That is what our coaches need at this point. I've never seen our teams go farther without Coach Campbell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seth Jardine, followed by Kate Katashiro, followed by Daniel Munoz.
I'm happy to be here with you tonight in what will undoubtedly be one of the most difficult decisions this school board, as currently constructed, will have to make. You're about to hear several men and women make their case for and against Coach Amy Campbell and Coach Barry Absick. The decision you make today and the consequences thereafter would undoubtedly echo in the coming decades. Make no mistake, the judgment you pass will affect the lives of every facet of population this school board is responsible for. Men, women, mothers, fathers, and most importantly, our sons and daughters. The stand you take will be the precedent used for years to come. Prejudice, the abuse of power, bullying, harsh punishment, the prohibition of freedom to assemble, having a secret police are the tools used to create the institution of oppression that has been a decade-long staple of the Girls Ayala basketball program. There are women here who have come to the defense of Amy Campbell, and I want you to know that what these women are about to state are in large part the truth. Yes, Coach Amy Campbell cares. Yes, Coach Amy Campbell had taken the program on extravagant trips. Yes, Coach Amy Campbell exposed them to competition through tournaments. That is all true. It does not negate the fact that these other young women are speaking the truth. It's all truth. Coach Amy Campbell has shown her prejudice through a variety of methods, but in large, focus was on the daughters who showed little promise. In high school, the reality is the majority of your population will not be a college athlete or even have the skill sets to attain their goals. Jasmine Ishak, Naya Johnson, Sarah Marash, Zendong, Janisa Wong, and Jackie Ricketson. Your daughters have names. They have dreams and aspirations. Athletics is a learning experience unlike anywhere else on campus. You can literally fail at something and it not be held against you. You can learn how to adapt and, most importantly, learn how to get up after you fall. I have seen Coach Amy Campbell use tactics and force our daughters into quitting. I had a player whose father was on his deathbed. Her play and her attitude suffered, understandably. I encouraged her to stay with the team and her friends who loved her as she goes through this difficult time in her life. Coach Amy Campbell expressed to me this player was not what the program needs. The program, not what she needed. She constantly placed the needs of the program over the needs of our daughters. Here tonight, we honor our ancestry. We will not be silenced. We will speak in one voice to be free from tyrannical rule, to be free from oppression, to be free from that which exacerbates our fears. Tonight, we find the strength in one another as we use that strength as a catalyst to propel us forward onto greatness. In one voice, we will be free.
Thank you.
Kate Kashiro, followed by Daniel Munoz, followed by Louise Rawi.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kate Katsuhiro, Ayala class of 2015, JV and varsity basketball player under Coach Amy Campbell. I am a witness to when Amy Campbell went as far as to use violence as an expression of anger and intimidation. As a 14-year-old, I was grabbed by the neck of my jersey and thrown with excessive force to the sideline during practice over a minor mistake. My body froze as I was engulfed in embarrassment and shame. My mother soon after had a personal meeting with Coach Amy Campbell and discussed her disapproval of how I was treated and expressed how she prayed for me as I experienced a tremendous amount of anxiety before practice and games. Then, during a later date for a general meeting with other parents, Amy Campbell mockingly and inappropriately asked my mother if she wanted to start the meeting with a prayer in front of everyone. This was not a joke. This was another method of bullying that Amy Campbell had used to regulate her congregation. I am a witness to Coach Amy Campbell making homophobic remarks, claiming that the actions of a teammate of mine who had identified as lesbian were the reasons as to why no one joined or supported the team program. I am a witness to an incident in which Amy Campbell publicly embarrassed and humiliated one of my teammates by calling her a whore in front of both teams. I am a witness to a multitude of things in which Amy Campbell used demeaning and belittling language that is unfit for a coach. Amy Campbell went as far as to publicly embarrass me by calling a meeting with everyone to make both teams believe that I was somehow the reason they had lost an entire game at a home tournament, even though I had only made a negligible mistake as a scorekeeper. This could have been avoided if she would have only come to speak with me personally to try to understand what had happened, instead of immediately choosing to publicly single me out and place the blame on me. I eventually quit the team. In doing so, Amy Campbell further alienated me from one of my friends that remained on the team by pulling her aside to seriously tell her that I was a bad influence and that she should no longer hang around me. This was a culture in 2011, an environment based in fear. Hearing these young women today is a testament that this culture has not changed. In closing, I repeat these words 6 years later so that they may continue to echo in our conscience for decades to come. Your job as a citizen and as a decent human being is to constantly affirm and lift up and fight for treating people with kindness, respect, and understanding. I'm doing that today. At 15, I was scared, humiliated, and bullied into quitting a sport that I loved. Today, I stand in solidarity with my sisters who have been victims of a tyrannical rule, which is Amy Campbell. Victims of an institution who would rather silence their voices and cover their faces. Tonight, you can dry their tears and give them voice. They deserve to be free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel Daniel Munoz, followed by Louise Rawi, followed by Veronica Munoz.
Okay, I had a speech, but there goes the speech. Okay, I'm here on behalf of my daughter, and you hear all these stories, and I mean, I'm angry inside that we as parents have to be here again, because it happened then, and none of you guys did nothing about it. So that's why, I'm very upset, because our girls shouldn't have to go through all this. I don't know how you guys sleep, but I wouldn't be. Some of these girls have therapy. Some girls didn't even want to even come in here afraid to see her face. I mean, think about it. What would make you fear to see a face? What damage has she caused? It's sad. You guys are here to protect the children. What's your oath? Please, someone answer me. You guys do your job. Do what's right. Look at all these children right here. You don't care? What's the point? If you're here to represent them, to look out for their well-being, do it. Do it. If not, resign and leave, because you're not here to represent these children. What are you going to let this? Sure, she's going to have a couple of students. Oh, she did this, did that, blah, But come on. What about these girls right here? Is it going to be okay to be treated like that? As a father, I want my daughter, when, one day she gets married, that she's treated with respect. And how is it that her high school coach treats them like crap? Explain. Please. Really, this is high school. Come on. They're supposed to be built up as players, so they could grow and, build up on that. But who's she? She told them in the beginning of the year, oh, they try to get rid of me, and blah, blah, blah. And guess what? She's saying that you guys didn't do nothing about it. It's you guys. I don't understand that. What, is her head that big? I don't understand. I'm very upset. You guys, I hope you sleep good at night that, get rid of her, And not only that, she should be banned from coaching, Really? Come on. This is our future. These young women are our future. What example are you guys showing them if they could be treated like that? Come on. Look at them. I don't know if you guys have daughters or kids, but, they deserve better. All these girls deserve better. And, like I told my wife, even my daughter never plays again at Ayala. That's fine. But for the girls for the future, they deserve better. There's students now that don't want to go to Ayala because of her. Come on. Half the team, the varsity team, don't want to come back and play for her. Come on. What do you guys need? Do you need, God forbid something terrible really happens. And it's going to be on you guys, because you guys didn't do nothing about it. I'm done.
Thank you.
Louise Rawi, followed by Veronica Munoz, followed by Adrian Gonzalez.
Good evening. My daughter, who graduated this past June and going to college on Monday, joined the Ayala basketball team, the JV, as a freshman in 2014, and she quit 2 years later. She could no longer handle the abuse and the toxic environment Amy Campbell single-handedly created. There's not enough time to tell you everything, so I've settled for just a few examples. It is important for you to know that none of these examples that I'm about to tell you have anything to do with basketball, how much play time my daughter got, or how many 17s she had to run, or even personality differences. It all has to do with Campbell's abusive personality and her creating a culture of bullying, hostility, and disrespect. She's a bully, and she groomed the players to bully their teammates, manipulated situations by bullying players, especially those of color, or ones she did not care for. She called the girls names. And I need you to brace yourself for some of the things that came out of her mouth while she was yelling. So it's not language that I usually use, but I really want you to get the effect of what she said to the girls. A bore with tits, except you don't have any tits. Dumb fucks. Shitheads. A waste of a player. But she saved the best for my daughter and called her a cancer. She also created a culture of disrespect and hostility. One of the players was running a little late, and she knocked on the door, and the players opened the door for her. When she saw her face, when Campbell saw her, she told them to shut the door in her face. And she often threw tantrums and sometimes got so hostile that she threw objects at the kids, whatever she can grab. And she was often inappropriate by talking about virginity and sexual preference. My daughter was present during the 2015 investigation when the entire JV team was called out of class one by one to be interviewed by HR. The HR person at that time told my daughter, "I'm so sorry, honey, that you have to go through all this. Believe me when I tell you that we're going to make things right." And my daughter came happy, and she said, "You know, Mom, I don't have to quit basketball after all. This is a game that I love, and I really want to stay. And if Coach Campbell doesn't stay, then I'll go." It has been 2 years since then, and I think it's safe to say that things are not better. This has gone on too long, and it's long overdue. Amy Campbell is going to continue with business as usual because people in charge, like HR, like her boss, like the principal, are allowing it to do so. You can't let her get away with this any longer. Our kids come first. They deserve a chance to be athletes and pursue what they love without having anxiety attacks and depression.
Thank you.
Veronica Munoz, followed by Adrian Gonzalez, followed by Sherry Method.
Hello, good evening, members of the board. I would like to convey how Amy Campbell has continued to corrupt Ayala Athletics, not only on the field of play, but beyond the basketball court. More specifically, the corruption within the booster board booster funds. Since August of 2014, the booster club has failed to file their taxes and has since been in operation illegally. Because of this willful act of multiple violations, as of January 15th of this year, the federal government has revoked any and all privileges as well as any and all legal standing of the boosters for the Ayala girls basketball program. The booster identification number 42-1550324 was posted on the auto revocation list on April 9th of this year. During the youth summer camps, merchandise was sold to those in attendance without a seller's permit, which is also in violation of district policy. Amy Campbell has used booster funds for personal gain, which is a violation of district policy and state law, as the boosters is California tax exempt under Code 501c3. There has been no audit committee, which is in direct violation of district policy. Financial records are not provided to board officials upon request. A scholarship was granted to provide proper assistance to a player or players that may travel, that needed to travel with the team. This would be legal, except according to district policy, the booster board needs to provide documentation in which the funds came from, booster board member approval, the method and criteria in which the recipient was selected, none of which were provided, as the selection was based solely on the prejudice of head coach Amy Campbell. All of your policies are available on your district website and easily accessible, and there is no excuse for ignorance. Because of Amy Campbell's direct influence and control over the booster board, I have to believe that she willfully ignored rules, regulations, policies, and laws in order to maintain her rule over the program. She has brought shame to Ayala High School, to the district, and most importantly has shown to be a bad example for our daughters. Our daughters deserve to be free from corruption. I also wanted to say that over the past month, I've been hearing and reading stuff that people have been saying out there, saying that our daughters have only been in the program for a short period, that they have not yet to fully experience the full weight of Amy Campbell's abuse. The notion is ridiculous. To state that they barely were on the varsity team or barely had any interaction with Amy Campbell does not exempt them from being a victim of abuse. How many times does somebody experience abuse before they're considered a victim? The answer should be one time is too many. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Adrian Gonzalez, followed by Sherry Method, followed by Kara Method.
Hello, my name is Adrian Gonzalez, and my daughter played varsity all last year. She played almost every game, and she chose this year not to play because of the coach, Amy Campbell. And I was looking through an article, and I want to read this to you. It says, "You are not a good coach when you," that's what it's titled. It says, "There are a lot of coaches out there who don't have a clue, one, about how to really coach. These individuals consistently do far more damage to young people than they coach. These individuals consistently, they tear down self-esteem rather than building it up. They create an extremely unsafe learning environment for their athletes. They use fear, humiliation, and deeming disrespectful behaviors as teaching tools. They are emotionally and sometimes physically abusive. They regularly kill the fun, and that's what gets me the most, how they kill the fun of the girls' desire to play and the passion that their athletes once had for the sport. These coaches have lost their way and strayed terribly far from the true mission of coaching. And then let me continue on. It says, you're not a good coach when you tell your athletes that under no circumstance are they ever to tell their parents what really goes on in practice. And if they do, they are being disloyal and disrespectful to their teammates, coach, and the program. Coaches who tell their athletes these kinds of things are terribly misguided and are trying to hide something. What they're trying to hide is their abusive behaviors. Telling kids not to ever tell their parents is what child abusers tell their victims. Now, one time, my daughter, who needs an inhaler sometimes, she told the coach at practice that she did not have her inhaler. And let me read you what Campbell told her. She called her stupid and dumb for that. Let's see. Coach Campbell became irate and screamed at my daughter insults which included calling her dumb. Coach Amy Campbell was not done humiliating my daughter as she made my daughter run for the incident. My daughter was not asked if she was ready to resume practice. Amy Campbell forced my daughter to run directly after taking her medication. Asthma doesn't alleviate right away after taking the medication. It takes time for the medication to work, and my daughter was given no time for that to happen. Okay, let me sum it up. We filed a complaint against her with, we filed a complaint that's under review, and they're calling me the civil rights, because we feel like her rights have been violated. Anyways, the coach, like I said last time I was here, she's not a good coach. She picks and chooses who she likes, and for every one girl that likes her, there's many who don't.
Thank you.
Sherry Methot, followed by Kara Methot, followed by John Lugo.
Good evening. My name is Sherry Method, and I have a unique position of coming back from 2013. Some of you I've spoken with. I also was a part of the Booster Board. I was the Booster Board Secretary. So I'm coming from a position a little different. I've witnessed many instances of alleged corruption, including the improper influence of board elections and telling parents whom to vote for and what positions. The bylaws dictate that the nominations must come from the parents or members of the booster. CIF rules are explicitly clear that the coach should have no undue influence over the booster board. That didn't happen. Further, I witnessed Amy Campbell holding private meetings away from other board members so that she could allegedly script how the next board meeting was to go, including nominating chosen members into key positions so that she may continue to use the booster for her personal gain. If anyone was daring enough to oppose her, Campbell would threaten the board and tell them, "I can have you all replaced." That is what she does, threaten and bully until she gets her way. Amy Campbell told students and parents that not only was fundraising mandatory, but that there was a mandatory amount of money that each individual had to sell. It is a direct violation of rules to demand students to fundraise. The CVUSD Parent Organizations and Booster Clubs Operating Manual states, students participating in parent organization booster fundraising activities cannot be required to volunteer. Further, if students and their parents did not meet the required monetary amount, the parents were then demanded to come out of pocket for the remainder of the sum. If the parents refused or could not pay, their children suffered by a decrease in playing time and they were humiliated in front of their peers. During the trip to another state, booster money was used to pay the way for the coaches to travel with the team. A vote was taken without a quorum present. Additionally, booster money was used for at least one student, handpicked by Amy Campbell, to travel for free, again without a quorum present. When documentation was requested to show where the funds were coming from, it was not provided, as should be in accordance to district policy, page 48. In addition to the personal spending, and to my knowledge as secretary at that time, there was never an audit committee created for the oversight that is required by CIF. There are multiple instances in which money fundraised never made it to the booster account, but instead went directly into Amy Campbell's account. This was discussed out loud. Proof can be provided that some monies were spent for Campbell's personal gains. After I left, after I left, sorry. Spending hard-earned boosted monies intended for the basketball program for her personal indulgences, such as treating herself to getting nails done or buying food for herself and companions. Finally, the incident that upset me the most was I, as secretary, she removed words from my meeting minutes. She let it through, and before her parents and the boosters saw it, words were removed. Everything was changed. This isn't about what happened on the court. This is about what happened with Amy Campbell behind closed doors. So all of this is bullying tactics. The unsuspecting parents don't know.
Thank you.
Para Methot, John Jugo, followed by Betty Uribe.
Hi, my name is Kara Method. I'm from the class of 2014. I first wish to reiterate how brave these young women are today. As a member of this community, I've gotten to know many of them. I have played basketball with some of the women who are speaking today, and I would like to still consider them my friends. To my friends who've come to the defense of Amy Campbell, you are right. She has some good qualities. It is easier to only want to remember the good times, and there were some good times. But it is utterly disingenuous to completely disregard what we were all witnesses to. To completely disregard the abuse that we were exposed to by Amy Campbell is an injustice to those who still feel the ramifications today, and a disgrace to our heritage as women as we enable future generations of women to experience this maltreatment themselves. This is what we know. A victim of abuse is 30% more likely to abuse children themselves. 80% are more likely to have psychological disorders in their early 20s. 9 times of them are more likely to participate in criminal behavior, and they're 2 times more likely to end up in prison. Abuse can also cause long-lasting physical and mental trauma to the abused. Today, I had permanent damage to my jaw because I used to tighten my jaw and clench my teeth as a reaction to anxiety that I felt whenever I was around Amy Campbell, so much so that my jaw would lock and cause me tremendous pain. In addition to that, I know that some of the girls currently have had their hair fall out, and they've expressed that they've thrown up because of the anxiety that they feel. This is 14, 15, 16-year-old girls have their hair falling out. In addition to that, many of them have expressed the depression that they felt during this program. These are just some of the ramifications that we have to think about as we expose these young women to the abusive culture of this program. Now, Amy Campbell is fully responsible for her actions. However, institutionalized bullying can only exist when we allow it to. There are those who are fully aware of Amy Campbell's inappropriate coaching tactics, yet they choose to ignore it. They choose to look the other way. I believe that doing nothing is the equivalent of condoning her abusive behavior. And by condoning this behavior, we are teaching every young woman who has ever been and whoever will be in this program that when they are abused, they just need to suck it up and deal with it. We are teaching them that they don't deserve to be treated any better. And we are teaching them that when they do try to stand up and defend themselves, they will fail because nobody will protect them. I think we can all agree that this is not the message that we want to send to our young daughters. Now, everyone here wearing purple has been affected by Amy Campbell's abuse in one way or another. I want you to know that you are not alone. You have a voice. We are here with you, and together, we can make a difference. Amy Campbell had 10 years to form a coalition. We had 1 month, and we have 50-plus people here to support this cause. Imagine what we can do if we have 12 months. You can call, email, direct message any of us, and we will help you. Or use the hashtag #BeFree, and we will find you and we'll reach out to you. It's time to be free of this burden. Be free from institutionalized bullying. Be free from abuse. Just be free. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Jugo, followed by Betty Uribe, followed by Rachel Essie.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is John Hugo, and I was one of the JV coaches as well as varsity assistants from 2012 to 2015 in the ALA program. During my time with Coach Campbell and all of the players, on a daily basis, she kept all of us to a high standard, from the players to the coaches to everyone affiliated, because that high standard was important to her, to make sure that everybody was pushing themselves to be the greatest they can be, to not fall in love with good on the way to great. On a weekly basis, she would actually fight for the girls' rights for court time alongside the boys' team, because that was always a difficult time as far as scheduling appropriate times either before school or after school. And she constantly made it a strong effort to make sure that her girls were allotted the same amount of time, the same main court, and all of the facilities that the men's teams were allowed during that time. And I felt that that was such an impactful message to me, because as a man that would always, of course, be in men's sports, I never thought about the other side of it. And so finally working with a girls' team to see the difficulties that can happen with the gender differences and what's who has priority over court time, and she would constantly fight for it, and that really made me admire her for that. And honestly, her holding everyone to that standard to show our young women, our young men, everybody in her classes that to have a high standard is important, to push yourself, to dedicate yourself to something, to day in and day out, don't accept being late. I was always taught, and she helped reinforce it in me, that early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. So even as an assistant coach, she would ask, hey, what happened? Why are you late? Like, I need you here for practice. And I said, I'm sorry, coach, you're right. I will be here next time on time for practice, because I know that she wanted what was best out of me. She always wanted what was best for the girls. And I couldn't be more thankful for her and the influence she had on me to help show me how you can keep players really working hard, but at the same time enjoying themselves, because all of the girls that pushed themselves during practice, we worked hard, we fought it out together, and we were successful during games. And I couldn't be more thankful for my time that I spent with her in the program. And I don't know what else to say, but I really truly appreciate it for what she's done for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Betty Uribe, followed by Rachel Essie, followed by Tim Rogers.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Dr. Betty Uribe. I'm an executive vice president in a financial services institution. I run a $6 billion business here in Southern California. I'm the mother of Sandra Tucker, who was also in the program. I'm also the author of #Values, an international bestseller that was endorsed by the Vatican as a book that should be read. And the only reason I bring this is because I want to talk to you about my personal experience with Coach Amy and her value system, which is my area of expertise. I've known Amy Campbell since 2010, when my daughter started at Ayala. I was also on the booster board, and as a banking executive, we had to make sure that the money was handled in double custody, just like we have to handle it at the bank. The decisions were made by the booster members, and I thought that it would be important for me to give you this information based on some of the comments, the previous comments. Upon arrival at Ayala, my daughter Sandra was welcomed by everybody, especially by Coach Campbell, who welcomed her in. On the team, I saw Sandra work harder than probably ever. I immediately made sure that I made contact with Amy Campbell to make sure that we formed a partnership as a parent and a coach, so that she could support me on the court with my daughter, and then I could support my daughter with her studies. I saw that Amy was concerned about not just the players, but also their well-being and their grades. She made sure that their grades were high so that they could play. When we had issues at home, I felt comfortable enough to go and talk to Amy about the issues that we had at home, and we had a really good partnership between coach and parent. Amy was a true partner to me. It's my belief that children's education outside of the school is the responsibility of the parents. I also believe that parents should take an active role in communicating with the teachers to make sure there is a true partnership that's working for the good of the child. Was Amy a tough coach? Yes, she was. She was very tough. And I was grateful for Amy as she prepared my daughter for how tough college would be following high school. And most importantly, I felt she was well prepared for real life. While Amy was consistently tough coach, I have direct knowledge of her dedication to her students and her expectation of excellence. I've seen Amy Campbell turn teams around into champions. I'd like to read to you a letter that my daughter wrote. She's in Washington, D.C., but she wanted you to hear from her as well. I'm not going to read the whole letter. I'll just give you the highlights. Although we may not have been the greatest high school basketball team at Ayala, those years I have spent wearing the Ayala jersey, and all of the memories, blood, sweat, and tears that came up in the territory were some of the best.
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Rachel Essie, followed by Tim Rogers, followed by Gabriela Quirarte.
Hi, my name is Rachel Essie, and I attended
Ayala High School from 2010 to 2014. I was on the basketball team under Coach Amy Campbell from the summer before my freshman year until I graduated my senior year. I also was on the softball team at Ayala during those years where Coach Campbell was an assistant coach. I want to speak today on her behalf to bring some positive words about her. During my time on the basketball team at Ayala, we had 4-hour days of practice during the summer, practices every day after school, and shoot-arounds before every game. Being on the basketball team was a commitment, and I would not take that back for anything. Coach Campbell was there for me whenever I needed her, whether it was basketball related or not. I could count on her for anything. She was hard on us, don't get me wrong, but that is how a coach should be. I never felt she had crossed any lines. She pushed us because she believed in us and because she knew we would be successful, and we were. Coach Campbell taught me many things throughout the 4 years I played for her. She shaped me into the athlete and person I am today. She taught me commitment and hard work through the expectations she had for our team. I would not be the same person I am today without her because she is one of the reasons I was able to be successful in college. I recently graduated from Simpson University, a private Christian college, while I was on the softball team, graduating with honors and becoming Scholar Athlete of the Year. I learned amazing time management skills from being on the basketball team. Coach Campbell made sure we knew that school came first and taught us that we can juggle school and practice successfully without falling behind. The biggest thing Coach Campbell taught me was that hard work always pays off. I can only say positive things about Coach Campbell, and I wish the truth of who she is as a coach is expressed. She is a good coach, cares about her athletes, and only wants the best for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Rogers, followed by Gabriela Quirarte, followed by Jessica Quirarte. Tim Rogers. Gabriela Quirarte.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Gabriela Quirarte, and I'm here today to speak to you about my experience as a parent in the Ayala Girls Basketball Program, headed by Amy Campbell. As a parent, I don't have enough words to thank Mrs. Campbell for the great opportunities she provided for my daughter, Jessica Quirarte. The 4 years she was in the program, 3 of them were in varsity. She had the opportunity to travel outside of California to experience competitive basketball, as well as college visits. These experiences provided camaraderie and strong bonds among all the players and the coaching staff. Coach Campbell is a coach who is dedicated beyond hours of duty. She cares for her players far more than just basketball program. During these 4 years, I always felt confident that Coach Campbell cared for my daughter as a player as well as a person. I can confidently say that Coach Campbell has always had the players' best interest in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jessica,
can we take a moment? Donnie, can you go into the superintendent's office, please? Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Good evening, guys. Good evening, members of the board. Good evening, everyone in the audience. My name is Jessica Quirarte, and I graduated from Ayala in 2017, and I was in the basketball program for 4 years. I have a letter prepared, but I don't really think it's going to do justice, so I'm just going to speak from the heart. I was in Amy Campbell's program for 4 years, and you can't tell me that I don't know, because I was in it. You can't tell me that that all these things these girls aren't saying don't have some truth to it, but how was I in the program for 4 years and never hear her once say a homophobic remark, once say a racist remark, or once do the things, be violent with her players? Like, come on, guys. Like, I was there. You can't tell me that it happened when I was there. Coach Amy Campbell is a tough person to play for. She is one of the hardest coaches I've ever had to play for. But if you're playing for an easy coach, then they're not pushing you to your limits. They're not pushing you to get better. I've had the privilege of being able to play basketball at the collegiate level for 2 years now, and I would not be able to make it through the rigorous emotional, physical, and mental toughness required to play at this level without Coach Amy Campbell. Coach Campbell, beyond basketball, cares about her girls. My grandmother died my senior year of high school, right at the beginning when we're preparing for our season. Not only did Coach Campbell sit me down and ask me how I was doing, but she had the booster members come together to send me meals to my family. She sent flowers. She tried to make it to the funeral, but it was the beginning of school. She couldn't miss that day. You can't tell me that a person who abuses people would do that. I'm just here because honestly, it feels like this has become more personal than trying to fix a program. You can't tell me that putting an ad out in the paper to summon people to tell their stories is trying to better the program, making shirts, putting duct tape over your mouth. This has become more than trying to empower women, than trying to do any of that. It has just become trying to belittle a person now. I don't understand how kids, and especially their parents, are okay with showing their daughters that when things get tough and when things don't go their way, that you can just complain until someone hears you. And I understand everyone is entitled to feel the way that they feel. But coming from a player who played 4 years, it is nowhere near as bad as she's getting her name dragged through the mud now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Darren DeKinkle, followed by Rich Hames, followed by Tina Hames.
Good evening. My name is Darren Decknecker. My daughter is Tara Decknecker. She just graduated. And unfortunately, I'm sad to see that they would not want to listen to what I have to say since my daughter just finished the program this spring. My daughter was a senior, played all 4 years for Coach Campbell. When my daughter first came to Ayala, my daughter is a perfectionist. And sometimes being a perfectionist is very challenging for a young lady, especially when it comes to sports, but more of academic. She was 4-point plus student and finished this year as the academic player scholar of the year for Ayala. My daughter, 4 years, and was Coach Campbell a tough coach? Absolutely. She's kind of the throwback style coach. High expectations, requires a lot out of her players. Also, my daughter is a mixed race. My daughter did not experience any racial biases in the 4 years that she played there. She can't be here tonight because she's working. She's gotten a job and getting ready to go to college in the fall here, so she was not able to make it. But I wanted to come to be able to share that with you. She had times where, you know, being a gifted student, she would be really concerned about her grades. She would talk to Campbell a lot more than a counselor, or even more than her academic advisor regarding her grades and how she was doing, the balance between sports and her grades. She had an injury with her knee, and with her knee she had to rehab back. Coach Campbell was very concerned. Coach Campbell would always be there, would adjust her training accordingly, and would also offer her opportunities to rehab or to be in the gym to shoot. So our experience with Coach Campbell has been nothing more than a caring person, a tough coach, no doubt. My daughter learned a lot of lessons from her, learned how to overcome adversity, and I think that story needs to be shared. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Richard Hames. My daughter's name is Alyssa, and I guess I'm going to be shunned as well by the orchestrated event that we're seeing today. I really just wanted to be here to give my support to Amy Campbell. In my mind, she's done nothing but outstanding things for my daughter Alyssa, who she talked about. She has a speech impediment, and she's gone through a lot. And really, Amy Campbell's the only teacher that's ever stuck up for her, and since she's been in school, honestly, which is just amazing. She is a tough coach. You know, we're not the most talented team. My daughter's been on the varsity team for 3 years. We're not the most talented team, but we're in shape. We know how to run plays, and we're a good basketball team. 3 years ago, when Alyssa started, she graduated 5 seniors. 2 went on to play college basketball. Last year, and you've heard for some of them today. Last year, they graduated 3, and 2 actually got scholarships to go on to play basketball. So I know you're hearing a lot of stuff. I think there's probably 10,000 more people that would come in front for Amy's support than we have today, but I just wanted to take a couple minutes and tell you my point of view. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Tina Hames, followed by Carol Elder, followed by Sharon Lee.
Hello, everyone. I'm saddened that they turned their backs to hear us, but we're listening to them, and I appreciate them talking and saying how they feel, but they should really not turn their backs on us and be disrespectful. But well, my name's Tina Hames. My daughter has been playing on varsity. This is going to be her 3rd year. I was saddened to hear about the last board meeting that had happened. I just want to talk about our experience personally being on the program. My daughter has finished 2 years of being on varsity. They have gone on so many trips: Arizona State, Texas University, Washington University, San Diego State, Cal Poly, St. Louis Obispo, Oregon State. They played at all these colleges and have toured the colleges. She has taken tons of team bonding trips: Morro Bay, San Diego, Camp Land, Grand Canyon, Big Bear, Disneyland. I know for a fact that no schools in the Chino Unified District has done any of that with their program. This is a girls' team, and she's taken them to all these colleges so that they inspire to play one day there. Coach has let all her players use her classroom during lunchtime when she's in there during lunchtime. And I can tell you this, all the players go in there, not feeling threatened, not feeling like abused. They all go sit there and eat their lunch in the room with Coach Campbell. I also am a big part of the boosters, and every Friday for 12 weeks, we are together. I am with all these girls, myself, some of the coaches, they're in different areas. But for 12 weeks on Friday, I'm with these girls. I love them. I care so much about them. I'm saddened by all this. But during that time, these girls, we talk about boys, playing, music, homecoming, their dresses. I listen to their music. And in all that, I believe, I'm positive that they felt safe with me in a safe setting. We goofed around, and I know so much that's going on in their high school life because of the Fridays that I've had with them for 2 years in a row, 12 weeks, every Friday. And not once has they ever said that the coach is abusive to me. Never. I just wanted to say my part in the sense of I am sad about this, and I mean, who couldn't be? It's disturbing for both sides. But at the end of the day, I just wanted you to know some of the good things that she has done. And since we are a 3rd-year returning player, we've seen tons of things. And again, I just never have witnessed or heard any of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Elder, followed by Sharon Lee, followed by Socos Cisneros.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carol Elder. I'm an electrical engineer, mother of 5, 1 in college, and 4 attending the schools in Chino Valley. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to the Ayala basketball program. Additionally, I would like to mention that I was not asked to be here, but took the initiative to express my truth and my gratitude and the long-lasting impression Coach Campbell left in my family. My daughter Alexi was part of the program for 2 years in the JV team under the coaching of Seth Jardine. Mr. Jardine was an excellent coach who taught Alexi so much about the game and motivated her to work hard. We were saddened to see him leave for her sophomore year. In regards to Coach Campbell, I know she is a firm coach who will tell you your weaknesses and improve them as well as your strength. I have seen Alexi mature and grow into a hardworking young woman during her time in the program. She has learned to take constructive criticism and apply it to enable her to continue growing. The times I interacted with Coach Campbell were very welcoming. With things I have seen, I know she cares about her players. One case recently being an inquiry I happened to see on Facebook asking of a good restaurant to celebrate a player's birthday. At the beginning of Alexi's freshman year, I was going to pull Alexi out of basketball because I had lost my job. At the time, I could not afford the rest of the Spirit Pack payment. Coach Campbell took the initiative to talk to me about letting Alexi stay in the program. She, along with the Booster Club, helped waive the rest of the fees owed. That action is forever engraved in my heart. This is my daughter Alexi's letter. I would like to take this opportunity to address my basketball experience at Ayala. I joined basketball by my freshman year and played for a total of 2 years. My time in the program was very beneficial and overall a good experience. This program taught me the work ethic and drive that is needed to be successful in today's society. Additionally, I have learned to work with others to reach a common goal. I still have the confidence to voice my opinions. During my freshman year, I tried out and made the JV team, coached by Seth Jardine. Coach G made it a point to express that basketball was not about wins or losses and X or O's. Instead, it was about building a foundation based on hard work and discipline, values that I keep with me today. Over the course of 2 years, I learned so much about the game and developed a love for it. From time to time, Coach Campbell would invite me along with other girls to practice with varsity. She wanted us to know our hard work was not going unnoticed. During the off-season, she had JV and varsity scrimmage to give us the opportunity to learn things that could only be learned by playing against more experienced players. In summary, I have learned in basketball that have helped me to become the young woman I am today. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Shannon Lee, followed by Soko Cisneros, followed by Cindy Danon.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Sharon Lee. I graduated Ayala back in 2011, and I graduated UC Berkeley in 2014. I played varsity for 4 years. I did 3 years with Coach Mel Sims, and then I did my final year with Coach Amy Campbell, and that was her first year coaching. So just to give you some background on Coach Sims was a very tough coach. No nonsense. It was very serious. He was very driven. We ran a lot of drills. We did a lot of running, but when we do these drills, they're not for nothing. They are for us to learn our fundamentals, and that's essentially the baller that I am today. I played with a lot of D1 players. Some of them went to UCLA, Oregon. I was good, but I wasn't a D1 player. So I didn't need basketball to go to college, but for some of these girls, they did need basketball. And, that's what you need. You need a tough coach. You need someone who's going to push you, someone who's going to push the players to be their best, both on the court and off the court. And I think that's what Coach Mel Sims did, and I also see that within Coach Amy Campbell. So with Coach Mel Sims, a little bit more context on other coaches, I guess, besides Amy Campbell. I played 3 years varsity, went to every single practice, went to, all of the hours, and went to all of the games. I probably get in maybe 1 minute, if that, at the end of the game, if we were up by 40 points. Otherwise, sat on the bench, no playing time. And I thought that was unfair. There's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of crying, there's a lot of running. But for the love of basketball, I stuck it out. It might have been unfair, but then I can't say that we always know what the coaches are thinking when they're making us, do these drills or the way that they're coaching. But I think, from my experiences, both with Coach Simmons, both Amy Campbell, it's for us to develop as players and as people. Senior year, I met Coach Campbell. I was the captain. She was a new coach. This is a new team. Not the D1 players that, I wish we would have been. But I would have spoken up if my teammates were, treated unfairly, or if anything had happened that I saw that wasn't appropriate. I've been following along with the situations and heard the testimonies, and it's unfortunate what happened, and these girls' voices are valid, and they should be heard, and they need, and they should speak upon it. But I want to speak upon Coach Campbell, who can't be here. I heard throughout this process that she's a bad coach. I don't think she's a bad coach at all. I wouldn't say that in hindsight, or I wouldn't have said it then. But she's a tough coach. And so as an educator and someone who teaches these students, she's someone who's putting in the hours. As much as we're putting in the hours, she's putting it in and then some more as well. She got us plugged in with the community. We visited the local fire stations. We got involved with the businesses, with fundraisers and things like that. So she showed us, it's a little bit more than just basketball. I also tutored one of the players on the team per her suggestion because, again, that was important. She wears her heart on her sleeve. I had a good relationship with her, but we butt heads.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Soko Cisneros, followed by Cindy Danon, followed by William Durbin.
Hi, my name is Soko Cisneros. I'm a former teacher in the Chino Valley Unified School District, and I'm actually a product of your schools. I graduated from Don Lugo High School in 1993. I love this district. I loved our community, and I love our teenagers. And I'm here today because I'm very concerned with the direction we're headed as a society, as a district, in general. So what I grew up in is a family of educators. Both my parents were Chino Valley Unified School District teachers. They poured their hearts, lives, everything they've got into our kids. They set that example for me, and I did the same as a teacher. You can interview any student I ever had, and they will tell you that I hemorrhaged for them when I was teaching. I did the same as a coach. I first met Amy when she was one of my parents' students, and the first thing they said to me is, "You've got to meet this girl. She's amazing. She's like no other student we've ever had." I thought, oh, that's great, fantastic. She's dedicated, she's committed. A few years down the road, I started teaching at Ayala when the board decided we no longer needed teacher librarians, and all of my ELD students would say to me, "Mrs. C, Miss Campbell is the best teacher ever. She's so patient with us, and she takes the time to understand us, and other teachers don't do that." And that universally was the claim from my first year ELD students, which I thought was wonderful as a teacher. Then my sons, who both are students at Ayala High School now, started playing at the Neighborhood Activity Center. They started playing basketball there, and their coach, who I think is going to speak to a little later, Andrea Juarez, she said to me, "Oh, you know Coach Campbell? She's amazing. She's the reason I became a basketball coach. She is a big part of the reason I am who I am today." And I'm like, oh, that's great. I work out at Orange Theory Fitness in our community. Several of the young women there who just recently graduated from this program, when they find out that I used to be a teacher, "Oh, do you know Coach Campbell?" And they unilaterally tell me she changed my life. I find it very, very, very sad, disheartening, tough to believe that unless she got beat over the head by a hammer at some point between when all these people experienced her and when these people are experiencing her, that she could be so duplicitous. I also find it awfully disheartening that a group that wants to stop coach bullying is posting on public forums like Facebook and things like that, advocating for people to say negative things about someone who's not on the site to defend themselves, someone who's not there to be able to say, "Hey, wait, that's not right." I want to speak very briefly to the race comments made about her. I'm a mother of 2 black children from Ethiopia, so I'm not just a white lady defending another white lady up here. One of the comments was about jungle ball. Google it, Urban Dictionary will tell you it's not a racist term. It's unorganized basketball. With my 2 black children, when we're taking a picture and there's a dark wall, friends, I move them to the front because you can't see them, and I want to see their beautiful little faces in my photos. So that's all I want to say tonight. I hope you guys make the right decision. I trust all of you. You're wonderful. Have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you.
Cindy Danon, followed by William Durbin, followed by Vicki Pearl.
Hi, my name's Sydney Dannon. I graduated from Ayala last year, and I played under Coach Campbell for 2 years. I'm here today to share my experience of the Ayala girls basketball program. Personally, I've never portrayed Coach Campbell's coaching style as bullying. I've been playing basketball for most of my life and have been coached by so many different types of coaches. From my experience, there are way worse things a coach can do. Travel ball coaches and college coaches are a complete different story. I think Coach Campbell is a great coach who only wants what's best for her players. She's done many things to bring together a group of girls and gives them a chance to bond. At Ayala, I've made some great friends that I would never have talked to if it weren't for this program. We've got to travel to places and go out on trips like Morro Bay, Big Bear, Texas, and Arizona. And I don't think most high school coaches would go through all the organizing and planning of all these trips unless they really loved their team. Before I came to Ayala, I was in the Diamond Bar High School girls basketball program. There I wasn't coached at all, so I never got to learn and gain more experience. Instead, I was pushed to the side and ignored because the coach cared more about winning every game. Coach Campbell was able to see my potential and did what she needed so I can grow as a player. From her program and coaching style, I've gained the confidence that I needed to play college basketball. I've increased my skill set, and I've learned the importance of perseverance. Thank you.
Thank you.
William Durbin, followed by Vicki Pearl, followed by Jorge Juarez.
Get this adjusted to my height. Distinguished board, good evening, members of the audience. I want to read you a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better, The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again because there is no effort, without error and shortcomings, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumphs of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while doing greatly, so that his place shall never be with those who have cold and timid souls, who neither know victory or defeat. It's much more comfortable outside the arena. It's safer, where there's no sacrifice. But those on the outside will never fully experience victory or defeat. Where am I coming from? I'm coming from over 35 years in the classroom, almost all of those coaching. Here in this district, I've coached with my son and my daughter in this district. They have both taught in this district. I first knew Amy when she was an 8th grader, and she was probably one of the top 2 kids that I've had over thousands of kids that I would consider just outstanding in every sense of the word. Over the years, we have become colleagues. She graduated from college, came back, and invested her life back into this community, back into the children of this community. I've seen her character qualities, those that I admire most: loyalty to a fault, integrity, work ethic. She goes the extra mile, not just with students, but with everybody. And I've got to say, I'm proud to not only know her, but actually have an opportunity to speak for her. I'll leave you with this last bit, and that is an ancient writing. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vicky Pearl, followed by Jorge Juarez, followed by Andrea Juarez.
Hi, my name is Vicky Pearl. I was a teacher for 32 years, part of it in this district, and I'm now retired. I kind of have a unique perspective, being that I'm a colleague of Amy Campbell's. I've subbed in her classroom numerous times, and my daughter played for her. She's a softball player. I met Amy Campbell 4 years ago when my daughter made the varsity softball team. My daughter Hannah is now a senior. She looks forward to playing for Amy Campbell in the spring. In my numerous encounters with Coach Campbell, I have seen only professionalism. I sit close to the dugout during home and away games to see the game because I'm old now. I have heard lots of encouragement and positive suggestions to the softball players from Coach Campbell. She holds the players to high standards and leads by example. During team dinners, I have visited with Coach Campbell. We've had him at our house and all the other players' homes. And it's always been a pleasure to talk to her and learn more about softball. As a colleague, I've been a guest teacher in Miss Campbell's class many, many times. Last year, I may have subbed for her 15 to 20 times because she became a new wife. She was ill several times, so I saw what went on in her classroom. She runs a tight ship. She is hard, no doubt about it. She sets the bar high and expects the best from her students, the type of teacher I'd want my children to have. She's highly organized. The students know what is expected from them, and it's always a pleasure to be in her classroom. There's some teachers I would never sub for again. I always say yes to an Amy Campbell job. It's a pleasure to be there. And as a sub in her class, many times I met the basketball team. 6th period was PE. We would take them into the locker room. They knew what was expected. They challenged each other. They had a good time. The thing that surprised me the most was when I arrived in the morning, the basketball students were waiting. They wanted to be in her classroom. I hung out at lunch in the classroom. All the basketball players, 10 to 12 of these girls, came in every day and sat in her room a favorite place to hang out, the safe haven of Miss Campbell's classroom. I look forward to another softball season with Coach Campbell. I look forward to being in her classroom as a substitute teacher if need be. Coach Campbell is an exemplary teacher, a great person, and an excellent coach. Chino Valley Unified School District is lucky to have her as part of their team. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jorge Juarez, followed by Andrea Juarez, followed by Sandra Tucker.
Hello, my name is George Juarez. I've been a police officer for over 20 years. I've coached youth sports for over 15 years, and I'm in my third year of coaching high school baseball. My daughter played for Coach Campbell from 2008 to 2013, and 5 years later, here I am speaking on her behalf. There's a reason. Yeah, you've heard all the positives. She's a tough coach, yes, but she helped my daughter develop skills that are tough to develop nowadays. You know, discipline, good work ethic, just being good members of the community. And I think she really accomplished that with my daughter. I really appreciate that. That's why I'm here. The experiences out of state, yes, Hawaii, Oregon, yeah, hey, I can't speak enough about that. Most coaches don't do that. You know, we don't do it in baseball, but I know she does it in basketball. Truly appreciate it. You know, I stand 100% behind Coach Campbell because I know that she will stand in harm's way of any player. She won't let anybody get hurt. You know, she's all positive. The easy thing to do is to move in a different direction. But the right thing to do is to stand behind somebody that gives 100% for student athletes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea Juarez, followed by Sandra Tucker, followed by Natalie Sanders.
Good evening. My name is Andrea Waters. I played basketball for Coach Campbell throughout middle school at Magnolia Junior High and high school at both Chino High and Ayala. Coach Campbell was the reason that I transferred from Chino High to Ayala High School after my freshman year. I now attend Cal State San Bernardino, where I'm attaining my goal of becoming a history teacher and basketball coach myself. I believe that the influence Coach Campbell has had on me impacted my career choice. In my 6 years of playing for Coach Campbell, I received guidance not only on the court, but off of it as well. She has always made sure her athletes were doing well in the classroom and encouraged us to support the other programs within the school. I believe she is a dedicated coach and she works hard to bring out the full potential of each player on her team. The extreme hard work and dedication from not only the players, but from Coach Campbell as well, helped us to achieve our goal of becoming league champs my senior year of high school. I genuinely believe that Coach Campbell has contributed to not only my success, but the success of the basketball program at Ayala High School. Coach Campbell wasn't just a coach or a teacher. She's someone I can count on. I'm almost 23 years old now. She's known me for half my life, having been my coach at Magnolia when I was a 7th grader. And even now, I've been out of high school for 5 years now, and I know that she's just a phone call or a text away if I ever need anything. Being a transfer student, like many people were saying about staying in her classroom during lunch, being a transfer student, I didn't have that many friends. I didn't know a lot of people, but I know I always had a friend in Coach Campbell. I always had a friend in the basketball girls. That's why I would hang out in that room constantly before school, during lunch, after school. One moment that will stick with me forever is my senior year. I got in a car accident right on Eucalyptus, right by Lytle. And the first person by my side was no one other than Coach Campbell. She came to help me when I was afraid. I was in tears. I was a mess. And she was the first person there to make sure that I was okay. And that's something that will always stick with me. And I do coach young ones now, and my coaching style is basically based off of hers. I try to not only teach them basketball, but teach them life lessons also. And I think that's a very important part, especially when developing younger children. So I have nothing but good things to say about Coach Campbell, and she has 100% of my support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandra Tucker, followed by Natalie Sanders, followed by Ashley Sanders.
Good evening. I'm Natalie Sanders. I would like to read a little note that I did send to the administration at Ayala for Coach Amy Campbell. Greetings. I'm writing this note as a previous parent of a daughter that used to play for Coach Campbell at Chino High School. Alex played for 2 years with her. I was a very active parent and attended all games, some practices, and some field trip excursions with the team. Coach Campbell was a tough, passionate, and firm coach with high expectations, as most coaches are, but I never felt in any way that she was verbally abusive to any of the girls. She always had the best interest of the girls as her priority. Yes, they worked hard and they practiced hard, but Coach Campbell was always fair and supportive of the girls. My youngest daughter, Ashley, had her as a teacher at Magnolia Junior High, so I know the coach side and the teacher side, and both exemplified professionalism on and off the court. We've kept in touch throughout the years, and I've even attended some games in spite of Alex transferring to Chino Hills High. I think very highly of Coach Campbell and appreciate the guidance, support, and friendship that she's offered to my family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandra Tucker. Ashley Sanders.
Hi, my name's Ashley Sanders, and I had the joy of knowing Miss Campbell for about 10 years now, since she was my middle school teacher. My sister was coached by her, and she also had her as a teacher at Chino High. And I wasn't able to have the joy of having her as a coach since I went to Chino Hills High. Even though I didn't have her as a coach, she impacted my life as well as my family's, as my mom said. I have nothing but positive things to say about her. Although she's tough, she's really understanding, supportive, encouraging, and I wish I was able to actually have her as a coach. I was jealous that my sister was lucky enough to have a coach like her, since she was holding everyone to such a high standard compared to a lot of coaches that I had. I've never heard her say any remarks that were offensive, racist, homophobic, or disrespectful. And my sister also wrote a letter that I'm going to read, since she wasn't able to be here. She wrote, I first met Miss Campbell during my sophomore year of high school, 2010, when she became the varsity girls basketball coach at Chino High. As a coach, she always pushed my teammates and myself to be the best women and players we can be. She has always made it known to us that she does so because she cares about us, and none of us ever questioned that. Even outside of basketball, Miss Campbell is very caring and still supported me, even though she transferred to Chino Hills High School. Over the years, we managed to keep in touch, and I even consider her one of my mentors. She is the one coach from my sports tenure that I regularly have conversations with because of her ongoing support. I have never once felt any hostility from her, both on and off the court. Miss Amy Campbell has always been a role model to me, and I continue to look up to her and what she's done for my hometown's community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ash Sharma, followed by John Zarro, followed by Juan Villalobos. Ash Sharma.
Yeah, first have to repeat line. Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name's Ash. I've been a part of the coaching staff for Ayala girls basketball on and off for about the last 7 years. Basically, when I was in town, I would be there to help the girls out, and then I was living in Portland for a little bit, so I wouldn't be here. So that's why I was on and off. When Coach Campbell first told me what was happening, I was extremely upset because as somebody who prides myself on guiding younger people, siblings, little brothers, nephews, nieces, things like that, to hear those words spoken about Coach Campbell made me upset because throughout all my time over there, had I known any of this stuff, and I've been there, I've been at the practices, games, fundraisers, Christmas parties, everything that Coach Campbell has done. I've never seen any of that stuff, and it frustrates me knowing that somebody would say something about her in that way. I don't believe that this is even a attack on whether or not she can do this job or anything like that. This has become an attack on her character, and it's disappointing to see people do that. In a time where student safety should be a priority, we should be trying to keep good people around our kids, our nephews, our nieces, our little siblings as much as possible. And Amy Campbell is that person. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Zarro, followed by Juan Villalobos, followed by Randy Reams.
Good evening.
My experience is a little bit different, as my daughter, who can't be here today, is a freshman incoming to the program, so we've only been around Coach Campbell for a small amount of time. But luckily, my job allows me to be able to attend most things that she does. And so I was at all the summer league games. Daughter plays travel softball, that's why she can't be here today. I coach travel softball and have for years. So seeing how Coach Campbell interacted with the students was important to me, as this is not her primary sport, and she hasn't played basketball in 3+ years, but she wanted to experience something different in high school and support Ayala and have some fun and meet new people her freshman year. So throughout that process of going to the first week of all the practices and 4 hours a day and all that fun stuff, I asked her about her experience with the coach. She had nothing but great things to say, and a lot of what I've heard today is what Madison said, was if you put hard work and effort in, then you're not going to have a problem with this coach. She does not accept someone that is not willing to work and doesn't want to get better and put that effort forward. So she did want me to express that in the short amount of time that she's worked with her, she's had great conversations with her, and that she's been a great coach for her so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Juan Villalobos, followed by Randy Reams, followed by Maureen Quijada.
Hi, good evening. My name is Juan Villalba, and I'm a parent of 2 Chino Valley School District students. I'm here to voice my concerns regarding the current legal battle over the right to pray during school board meetings. I'm not necessarily concerned about your right to profess, practice, preach your religion on your own time, since the Constitution protects us in that regard. But instead, I'm appalled by what I consider a gross breach of the trust that we, as parents and community members, placed in you when we elected you to hold this office. You decided to spend $300,000 on our tax money on a legal crusade that has absolutely nothing to do with the education of our children. This only has to do with you and your beliefs on your right to pray, preach and profess, and even attempt to influence our faith while holding a position on a public office. These actions look like nothing but a childish and narcissistic attempt to pat yourself on the back publicly at our expense. You present yourselves as champions of religious freedom, which, as I mentioned before, is already protected by our Constitution. If you want to spend $300,000 our tax money to protect the right to educate, something that is not protected by the Constitution, then please, go ahead. Takes my tax money too. Otherwise, if you so believe that your religious freedom has been trampled on, go to your bank account and pay for the lawsuit yourself. The Constitution says that church and state are to be separated. We elected you to this public office to be a school board member, not a priest or a pastor. Act as a school board member. According to the National School Board Association, the most important responsibility of a school board is to work on their communities to improve student achievement in their local public schools. School boards derive their power and authority from the state in compliance with the state and federal laws. School boards establish policies and regulations in which by the local schools are governed. This school board is responsible for employing superintendent, developing and adopting policies, curriculum, and a budget, overseeing facility issues, and adopting collective bargaining agreements. The school board should not be responsible for engaging in an existing crusade.
Randy Reams, followed by Maureen Quijada, followed by Linda Higgins.
Hello, good evening, school board, Dr. Enfield, staff, and community. My name is Randy Reams. I'm a math teacher at Ayala High School and the former head football coach. I'm here to speak on behalf of Coach Amy Campbell. I'm here to tell you Coach Amy Campbell is a great person. She's a great teacher. She's a great coach. And personally, she's a great friend. I've been working the home basketball games of the clock for the past 9 or 10 years. So I've seen up close and personal the type of coach that Coach Campbell is. Coach Campbell is a very tough coach. She expects a lot from her players. Coach Campbell does an amazing job of holding her girls accountable and pulling every last ounce of talent out of each and every girl. I respect Coach Campbell so much that before I decided to resign as the head football coach at Ayala to spend more time with my family, if I would have stayed another year, I was going to approach Coach Campbell to join my staff and coach with me in one facet or another. I don't know if it would have worked out with her doing basketball and softball, but that's what I was planning on doing. Coach Campbell really connects with her players. As you've heard, they hang out in her classroom. They go on trips. Coach Campbell is a coach that deserves to continue to be the coach of Ayala basketball. In my opinion, and it's my humble opinion, if she is dismissed as the coach of the Ayala basketball, I will wish the program luck. But I want you to know that they'll be losing an amazing coach and an amazing person. In my opinion, Coach Campbell is the glue that holds that program together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maureen Quijada, followed by Linda Higgins, followed by Jenny Beecham. Maureen Quijada. Linda Higgins. Jenny Beecham. Hector Lacaro. Hector Hector Lacaro. On consent.
I believe we're going to have to go past 10 o'clock, so do we need a motion for that?
Consensus.
Just consensus. Yes.
Yes. Are you in agreement?
Yes.
Okay. We will take a 5-minute break. I'm so sorry. We'll reconvene at 9:50. Reconvening at 10:01. We're now at changes and deletions. Pat, are there any changes or deletions?
The following changes and deletions are on the agenda. Administration item 2A3, page 12, public hearing regarding Sycamore Academy of Cultural Arts and Science, Chino Valley Charter School petition. Correct the name so that it reads Sycamore Academy of Science and Cultural Arts, Chino Valley. Human Resources, item 3E2, page 159, new job description and creation of the position of coordinator charter schools. This item is pulled from the agenda. There are no other items.
Thank you. We are now at action items. Pat, please announce the first item.
Item 2A1, Resolution 2018-2019-07, appointment of Superintendent Norm Enfield, EDD, as Secretary to the Board of Education and affirming responsibilities of Superintendent.
Recommend the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2018-2019-07, appointment of Superintendent Norm Enfield, EDD, as Secretary to the Board of Education, and affirm responsibilities of Superintendent. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Mrs. Blair, a second. Mr. Na? Yes. Thank you. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Next item.
Item 2A2, appointment of District Representative to the City of Chino Community Services Commission. We have 3 speakers.
Okay. So do I read the recommendation portion? Recommend the Board of Education consider the applicants and appoint one district representative to the City of Chino Community Services Commission. So who is our first speaker?
Aricela Talavera, followed by Cecil Howell, followed by Sharon Duran.
All of the information regarding the speakers remains the same. In terms of the light system, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Araceli Talavera. I am a proud product of CVUSD and a recent Chino High School graduate. Some of you may remember I like to keep people at the edge of their seat and take their breath away. I was an incredibly active leadership student at Chino High School and owe many thanks to the amazing administration and activities team for supporting me through every endeavor. Although I was always active in my campus extracurricular activities, I had the privilege to take part in some amazing opportunities within our community. As a young senator for Senator Connie Leyva, I learned the importance of engaging with my local government. And as a member of Congresswoman Norma J. Torres' Youth Advisory Committee, I learned the importance to speak up for change. It is these experiences that gave me the confidence to become the chairperson of the City of Chino's Teen Advisory Committee. I reported monthly to the Community Services Commission with updates on teen events for CVUSD youth, as well as updates on our service projects, such as the Gene Drive that raised 634 pairs of jeans for our Hope Center's Care Closet. The City of Chino is home, and it is a place I want to see grow. As a younger candidate, I feel that a youthful perspective would be beneficial to the Commission when it comes to our underserved teenage youth in our community. It would be a privilege to serve on the Community Service Commission as a district representative, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Cecil Howell. Sharon Duran.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent. My name is Sharon Duran. Last month, I submitted my Community Service Commission application. I came to personally introduce myself. I am a lifelong Chino resident and a CVUSD alumni. I have been attending school board meetings for several years and attended my first city council meeting in 2016. Since then, I have attended several city council meetings. Not only have I volunteered at Chino Neighborhood House and with Isaiah's Rock during the holiday distribution, I also take my children and get them involved at any time there's any volunteer opportunities. I would like to leave you with this short personal story. I asked my sister, who's a Chino Hills resident, do you know how many homeless are in the city of Chino? She said no. I said, there's 52. She looked at me and said, how did you count them all? She literally thought I went out and counted them. And my brother-in-law was like, you really think your sister would do that? He's like, yeah, she would. So that's how they know I'm so involved in the city, in our community, and how much I've invested of my personal time and my family life into making the city a better place and overall community. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further speakers.
That's it. Recommend the Board of Education consider the applicants and appoint one district representative to the City of Chino Community Services Commission. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
You need a nomination.
Oh, we need that before we
You
get
just
to
need
the
a
motion?
nomination.
Okay, so may I have nominations for a district representative?
Sharon Duran.
Well, let me call you off.
Oh.
Board. So, Mrs.
Oh, so
Blair.
you want the button?
Yes, you already did.
Okay.
Your button is on. Mrs. Blair,
Sharon Duran.
are there any further nominations? Mr. Cruz?
Yes, I may pronounce her last name. Was it Talveras?
Aracela?
Yes, Aracela.
Aracela, could you pronounce your last name for us again?
Talavera.
Any, Mrs. Orozco?
I was going to nominate her.
Okay. No further nominations? Mr. Na?
No, I was going to nominate it also, Aricela, so it's okay.
So hearing no further nominations,
So you take the first nomination and then you take the vote on that.
So the first nomination is Sharon Duran. All in favor of Sharon Duran as the district representative? Do we do a roll call vote, or?
You could do a roll call vote.
Do we make comments at all on the whole process?
As far as what?
As far as the applications that were received. I'd like to make a comment. So I just want to say all the applications that we received, each person is worthy of receiving the nomination and an appointment. So I just want everyone to know that everyone's application is worthy.
Any other comments?
I have a comment. I'm so impressed with our own student stepping up. Yeah, as you can see, like me could be your dad, who's a descending son. But you guys are the reason why we're here. And thank you for your heart for servitude. It's good to practice at young age so that this country will become a better place than we had enjoyed. So thank you for turning in your application. I also like to thank Ms. Sharon Duran. She brings out those two little ones and teaching them all the nice things about this community. And if they were here, I would probably had called on their names because the kids are our hope. So thank you, Arisela, for applying for this position.
All right. In favor of Sharon Duran, Mr. Cruz?
Pardon? You're doing a roll call?
Isn't that what you said?
You could do a roll call. It's the first nomination who gets the majority of the votes. So the first one who gets 3.
Okay. So, Mr. Cruz. Sharon Duran.
No.
Well, then if it's the first one, then we should just say who it is, and then that way, right? Because you said it's the first one to get 3. So he should just say who he's supporting, and
Okay.
then just move forward.
So, Mr. Cruz, who are you supporting?
Talavera.
Okay.
Mrs. Orozco.
Yes, I'd like to support Ms. Talavera, and very impressive letters from Congresswoman Torres and Senator Leyva.
Mrs. Blair.
Sharon Duran.
Mr. Na.
My student, Arisela.
And my vote would
Araceli.
and my vote would be for Sharon Duran. So, Araceli Talavera is selected as the district representative for a term to expire June 30th, 2020. Next item.
Congratulations.
Item 2A3, public hearing regarding Sycamore Academy of Cultural Arts and Science, Chino Valley Charter School petition.
Recommend the Board of Education conduct a public hearing regarding the Sycamore Academy of Cultural Arts and Science, Chino Valley Charter School petition.
Science and Cultural Arts.
Am I supposed to read the gray? All right. Board members, cabinet, and audience members, the petitioners of the Sycamore Academy of Cultural Arts and Science are making a short presentation. I believe up to 20 minutes total, including questions. Isn't that correct, Dr. Enfield? Yes. After that, I will open the public hearing, and the board secretary will call up those speakers who have submitted a speaker card. Mrs. Hale, if you would please start your presentation, and board members, you'll be given an opportunity to ask questions once the presentation's over. I now open the public hearing at 10:12.
Great, good evening.
Oh, I don't. Sorry. I now open your presentation.
Great. That works.
Ungavel.
We will be quick. I'm glad to see such great spirits after already a very long evening. My name is Barbara Hale. I'm the Executive Director for Ronald Reagan Charter School Alliance and the lead petitioner for Sycamore Academy of Science and Cultural Arts, Chino Valley. I'm going to open the presentation, but I have speakers with me. So tonight's presentation is, we have John Art, our CFO from ICON, so he can go through budget for you. I have Jeff Marabato. He's our Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, so he'll go through a brief overview of that. And then Richard Hansberger is our school attorney. He's going to be our closer tonight. For support of the school, I just want to point out that we submitted the petition with more than the required number of signatures according to the Charter Schools Act. We've begun recollecting signatures, and we will be submitting those signatures with our Prop 39 request prior to the deadline. And we had a lengthy discussion about 5 people reading the exact same document can come up with 5 different interpretations of it. So we would like to invite you to visit our current site. It's I left the address here, and we begin school next Wednesday. We'll take you on the first day if you want. Whenever announced, unannounced, you're welcome to come and see what it is we do every single day with our students. With that, here's John.
Good evening. My name is John Arndt. I am the CFO for Icon School Management. We work closely with Sycamore Academy down in Riverside County, and we worked on this budget with the help of legal team as well as Ms. Hale. So enrollment in ADA, a lot of this stuff is in the budget narrative, but we wanted to make sure we emphasize some of the points on this. The enrollment in ADA revenue is based on the number of students enrolled and their attendance. Budget assumes a conservative estimate of 95% attendance rate, and this graph here shows what we're projecting as far as enrollment for each year for the next 5 years, as well as the total projected ADA. We did a conservative estimate of 95% attendance rate. Right now in Chino Valley, one down in Riverside, we are about 96 to 97%. The next one is local control funding formula, the LCFF. The LCFF was enacted in 2013-14 and will be in its 7th year of implementation when SASCA CV starts. All assumptions taken from the FCMAT LCFF calculator, with the authorizing district being Chino Valley Unified School District. So we put the LCFF calculator, we put all your information in there, and it generated these numbers as far as the attendance numbers on the previous slide. So 1920 revenue for LCFF, 2.3 million, all the way to 2023-24 at 5.2 million with LCFF, with the growth we're expecting. In addition to the LCFF revenue, we have additional revenue sources. So these are just, we're going to work with the El Dorado Special Education Local Plan Area, the SELPA, and right now they're doing 125 per 80 for federal and 522 per 80 for state as of the 18-19 projections. We will provide a national school lunch program, use the latest reimbursement rates available from the CDE. We will apply for the PCSGP when it becomes available based on the newest grant cycle. Right now it's $475,000 for site-based schools. This organization had received a passing score on previous attempts to secure this grant. Also, we'll apply for the CD revolving loan of $250,000, but for considered purposes did not include this as part of the cash flow. There's additional guaranteed line of credit up to $500,000 from our bank to help with cash flow if necessary. Also anticipating start of funding from fundraisers and philanthropic donations, but did not include these in the budget. Next one is just a touch on salaries and benefits. This shows what we're projecting for every year, going from 1920 to 23-24, as far as certificated teachers all the way down to custodians, maintaining a 20.89 to 1 staffing ratio for the 5 years the school is going for a charter. Salaries and benefits. Year 1 average salary and benefits for a teacher will be $82,065, all the way up to year 5, which will be $95,767. The competitive structure will allow to recruit qualified talent for Chino Valley's Sycamore Academy. Salaries and benefits. The school will participate in STIRS and PERS, and then medical benefits for employees working 30+ hours at a rate of $10,300 per year. And here are all the different rates for all 5 years that we're projecting. You can see that it lines up with the salaries as well. Some highlights on the books and supplies. Budgeting $350 per student on approved textbooks, $100 for reference materials, planning on 1-to-1 student ratio for computers, budgeting at $350 per device. Also including every year a 20% replacement cost for textbooks, and vendor meal cost of $325 per lunch meal, conservative estimate compared to current meal costs. And then services and operating expenses, which are the 5,000 accounts. I know one of the issues was past special ed costs include all outside service provider costs, also including the El Dorado self-encroachment fee in the budget, aligns with the respective rates. Facilities, we're going to try to work with the district to secure a Prop 39 facility, as this had been offered in previous attempts. Second option will allow the school to budget $1.50 per square foot above the current commercial facility rental rate and charter school facility rental rates, and this will be for facilities. You also have 2,500 in educational consultants as well as professional development to enhance teaching practices and improve schools' academic performance. So what's the bottom line? Oh, it's pretty small. So we have 5 years of positive net income we're projecting, steady growth from year to year, conservative revenue projected, as well as conservative accounting approach to expenses. So $146,000 in 1920 compared to $942,000 in 23-24. So SASCA financials, where we're at right now. The current school has never had one internal control finding related to the financials or internal controls. They also have a $9.4 million bond project for Wildemore facilities with quarterly financial reports submitted to the bond financing company. They have a good, near great standing relationship with the authorizing district for Wildemore School. Financial reports have been submitted timely, follow-up questions are responded to immediately, and they've met the minimum standards of the 5% reserves have been met and exceeded.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Marabato, and I am the Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. I'd like to say I'm the Director of the CIA. So I'm going to talk about our program. First, though, tonight I have the pleasure of speaking to you about the Sycamore Academy Education Program. When you think of Sycamore Academy in Chino Valley, you'll need to think about the opportunities that await the future students and the community of Chino Valley. Sycamore Academy will be a safe environment. Sycamore Academy will be a school that children can grow in, both socially and academically. Sycamore Academy is a SPEC school. SPEC stands for Student-Centered, Problem-Based, Experiential, and Collaborative. SPEC is not just an acronym that we say, but a belief that our students live. We have looked deeply at how students learn best, and we provide them with that learning environment every day. So how do students learn best? Learning best occurs when students are driven to solve a passionately held question. Sycamore students are given opportunities to grapple with those questions. This environment is created by excellent teachers that apply proven strategies to provide a rich and rigorous academic program. Some of these proven strategies include Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, the growth mindset, and Kagan classroom structures. Utilizing these structures, students learn to transform their learning environment into a cooperative learning community, utilizing small groups of students who are enhancing their learning through interdependence. Our curriculum is at the forefront of academic success. It is research-based, proven, Common Core, and NGSS aligned, and mixes new ideas with proven strategies. Jump Math uses Socratic method while teaching math with the belief that students are all undiscovered math prodigies. We use Step Up to Writing and Words Their Way to teach writing, Fontes and Pinnell as the backbone of our reading program, and the California Educational and Environmental Initiative to teach social science history and NGSS aligned sciences. The middle school electives are CTEs, that is career and technical education courses, and students 4th through 8th grade are taught a language through the worldwide respected Rosetta Stone. Our cultural arts emphasis includes Orff music curriculum, Meet the Masters, and many, many service learning opportunities. Our after-school program includes both interscholastic and intramural athletics. We also offer a variety of clubs free of charge. The clubs include health and wellness clubs, technology clubs, critical thinking clubs, community engagement clubs, environmental clubs, and academic tutoring. At Sycamore Academy, we are proud of our academic program and the social and academic growth our students demonstrate. We know that the Chino Valley students and community will greatly benefit from the Sycamore Academy Chino Valley. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Rich Hansberger. I'm counsel to Sycamore Academy, and you know, when the lawyer's present, you know, dark clouds arise. But I want to speak personally about Barbara Hale and this team. Our firm has represented them since the beginning, and I've been involved with charter schools for 20-plus years in the Inland Empire. My family's from the Inland Empire. This is where I was born and raised, and if there's a charter school in the Inland Empire, we probably had a hand in developing that school. And I want to say something personal about Barbara Hale and the team at Sycamore, because we've been with them since the beginning, since before the beginning. It was one of the schools I'm most proud of. And they're a handful in the Inland Empire where I'm very proud to represent them, because I think they represent the best of what education can be. And what I mean by that is that they're true collaborators. They work with their districts. Barbara has developed an incredible relationship with the Lake Elsinore Unified School District, such that now they collaborate on projects regularly. And we're very proud of that. We like to see that because that's why charter schools, that's why the Charter Schools Act was passed. It wasn't to set up a parallel structure, it was to set up a collaborative structure, a place where innovation could occur and those innovations could feed back into traditional school districts and back again, kind of an iterative cycle, if you will. So I really want you to think about Sycamore Academy and what they're doing currently. I'd encourage you to look at the program and what it offers, and I'd encourage you to think about what it could bring to Chino Valley and to some residents of this district. Charter schools are typically small by design. Most of our schools serve between 300 to 600 students. We have some larger schools, of course, and we have CMOs that operate schools up and down the state. But this is a small school that would do some very interesting, innovative things, and I think would be a truly collaborative partner for the Chino Valley Unified School District. So with that, you've had a long night. You still have a long night to go, so we'll give you a closing right now. Thank you very much for your time.
So we do have a little video that talks, shows you our campus has some parents, has some students and some community members down there. We're happy to show it to you, but given the time, it's like a 2.5-minute video. Given the time, I'll leave that to you guys if you want to go to questions or if you want to watch the video.
I'd like to watch the video first, then we have questions, I guess. 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. I think we can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sycamore Academy is very much a part of the community. Southwest Riverside is experiencing a great influx of migration from San Diego County, Orange County, and parents are looking for a quality educational experience for their kids. They don't want the traditional classroom, but instead are looking for a place where kids have high-level learning, they're collaborating with others, they're engaged in their communities, and they're learning for meaning.
I think the biggest thing for me is the one-on-one attention that he gets with the school. You know, he has an IEP, and so teachers are spending quality time with him every location that he goes. And the one-on-one attention really has helped him in the 3 years we've been here.
I really love Sycamore. I think it's like a really unique school because there's a lot of creative learning programs and ways we do things.
I feel that the school has been positive for them because of the way the philosophy, the way they teach kids, and that fits my kids.
The teachers are highly trained, the staff is highly trained, everybody is very welcoming, and parents are very happy with the learning outcomes of kids.
The reason why I love Sycamore Academy is because they have taught me so many things that no other school could have taught me. They have taught me how to work together in groups and to work on solutions to disagreements and to work on compromises.
We're so glad to have Sycamore Academy in our community. The staff attends our city council meetings and we see the students at community events. The staff often invites us to their arts showcase, and I have attended. When you're a part of the community, you're proud of it and you want it to grow. We're so happy to have Sycamore Academy in Wildomar.
I like Sycamore because my teacher helps me to do my sight words and math, and as I do my math and sight words, I get smarter and smarter and smarter.
One of the things that kids learn here at Sycamore is to engage in service learning, which takes them into the community to help others. So they become part of the community.
Sycamore Academy of Science and Cultural Arts has been a part of my community for 10 years.
I'm sorry, we just now saw that it says Chino Hills and it should say Chino Valley, so we know the difference. The editor didn't. I don't know how to make that. So we're happy to answer
Okay,
questions.
board members, if you'd buzz in if you have questions. Mrs. Blair.
How many interested students have committed to attend Sycamore for fall of 2019? And when I say interested, I mean truly, meaningfully interested.
So we just started collecting parent signatures on this petition because obviously all the signatures from the last petition wouldn't count. So I don't have that number for you because we just started doing that, and I've been in professional development with my team.
When did you begin?
I think like yesterday. yesterday, I think.
Well, then I guess that kind of will answer my next question, because your cover letter to our board dated July 19th of this year states in part, the parents that we have been working with desire an additional choice in education for one or more of their children. So how is it that you have parents, but you just started collecting signatures yesterday, and your letter to us was dated July 19th?
So the purpose of collecting the signatures is for submission, and in order to submit this in a timely manner so that by the time, if we have to go to the state, we don't have a facility issue this round, we submitted with teacher signatures. That meets the legal requirement. But we have more than 300 families that supported the petition before. We just started reaching out to them to see if they support this petition, and I'm sure that we're collecting signatures. I just didn't check because we'll be submitting all that with a Prop 39.
But the letter was dated July 19th
Yes, and we
of this
still
year.
do,
So you're,
we still
when
do,
you say you have parents that desire it, it's from the last petition you submitted, those signatures?
we still have contact with those parents. So yes, those parents still want us to come here. We had one parent come. I didn't advertise coming to this meeting or anything. We didn't encourage parents to come and speak. We didn't know. We did not ask parents to come and speak to this because we don't feel that we need to do that at this point. We submitted the petition with the appropriate number of signatures for teachers, and then we're going to collect the signatures, and you will have all those signatures when we submit the Prop 39. So we have over 300 parents that have supported us. We have 300
In the past, not as of July 19th.
No, I'm pretty sure that they'll still support us. But we'll get signatures and submit that to you.
I would like truthful statements in what you submit to us. So the cover letter is dated July 19th of 2018, and you state that the parents you have been working with desire that.
For 2 years. They do
Well, I think
desire
that that's
it.
what should have been included in here, and not try to allude to the fact that you have now new parents supporting this as of July 19th.
I don't think that letter says new parents, but your comment is noted that you don't like the way that
I didn't say it
submitted
said new. I said it alludes to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Na?
Yeah, from that clip, it talked about special ed parents, and he was quite happy. Can you expand that? And what is the percentage of the population, student population, who's in special ed program?
13% of our population at our Wildemar School is in special ed. We have a really good reputation in our special ed community. We serve a lot of students with autism. That's our biggest draw. Autism and ADD are the majority of our special ed students. We have 2 ed specialists. We have reading specialists. Just the sheer design of our program lends itself to help students with attention deficit and for students on the spectrum to learn social skills. We do a lot of Kagan structures, which teaches them strategies to improve social skills.
Thank you.
Mrs. Orozco?
I'm glad you corrected that, because I was going to say we're Chino Valley, so we cover Chino Hills, and South Ontario.
We know.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I should have watched it again, and I just didn't.
So I think it's no secret that I'm a big advocate of governance and transparency. And one of our well, first let me ask a question. So your Ronald Reagan charter, what is it, School Alliance board members?
You want the story behind that first? We're the Ronald Reagan Charter School Alliance because the original group that started our organization came from Ronald Reagan Elementary School. That's the whole name thing, just to clarify. Yes.
Okay, but so are any of the board members, do they have school-aged students that attend Wildemar Charter School?
That did. The last one just aged out this past graduation.
Okay.
That would be Elizabeth Halkis.
So just one?
Well, the year before that, Daniel Levitt's student aged out.
Okay. So when or how would parents from Chino Valley be able to serve on that board?
They could immediately. The board size can be up to 9. We have 5.
I thought I read somewhere that only 2 parents are permitted on the governing board.
And currently we have 0.
Okay, but why only 2?
We don't.
And I say that because one of our prior charter schools had issues with the governing board, and I think it's important when parents are on the governing board because they have a vested interest.
Absolutely. So we practice having diversity of thought on our board. So we have a former superintendent, we have a university professor, Elizabeth is a special education teacher, Daniel was a business owner, now he's in a different field, and then Matt is a banker. So we welcome parents. We need a parent perspective, but we don't need only the perspective from parents. We need a perspective from a variety of sources. And the board has deemed that 2 parents is the number that they want. I mean, that's a good representation. But also, in order to get on our board, you have to go through school site council, and that's 50% parents, 50% staff. So people can only get on our board by interviewing with our school site council to approve them. So our parents have a lot more say-so in who comes onto our board than just the 2 parents that sit on our board.
So how do you advertise for the board members?
Well, throughout our school, or, I mean, word of mouth, because we get community members and things like that, too.
You made a comment about diversity of thought, but yet somewhere I read that your trustees have to have be knowledgeable of the theory and practices, constructivist theory and practices. So how do you know if a parent satisfies that requirement?
Well, I think the parents do just because they've chosen this program, so they know how it works. But board members that are, almost said want to be, I don't mean it that way, but people that want to be on our board that need a better understanding of constructivism, we meet with them. The staff does. We help them to understand that so that they can serve, because that is what our charter petition is. So in order to lead our organization as a board member, you need to understand what we're doing. So we help them with it. All of our board members didn't come to us with constructivist understanding, but they're there now.
Okay.
So you are proposing to have one board to oversee two communities?
That's correct.
And you realize we've had difficulty with that before?
I totally understand. I completely understand.
So how do you guard against the difficulties that we've had?
Well, I'm under the impression that the majority of those difficulties were fiscal. I don't know all the cultural stuff. I just know the aftermath because I wasn't involved with your prior experience, just what happened at the end of it. So fiscally, we're doing very well, and as John pointed out. Our school down in Wildemar started in the worst deferrals in recent education, and we've done very well there. So if the fiscal part is the difficulty, I don't see the parallel there. If you're worried about a school, for us, we don't have those fiscal issues. If you're worried about a board managing two different schools, our practices would remain the same.
Well, managing two different communities, you know, as we are elected, we're elected by the people in Chino Valley and South Ontario to represent the parents here. You already have a board that represents the parents or the community in Wildemar, not in Chino Valley.
But parents or community members from Chino Valley would need to be added to the board when we have a school in Chino Valley. So I mean, that's how we would
I don't think I read
both.
that anywhere.
I don't see that either. I would also like to ask you, you had 8 teacher signatures, which is what is required? 8 teacher signatures?
Half of the number of first year, so yes.
So, but 5 of them are currently teaching in your other facility.
So
there are only 3 teachers that are wanting to come to Chino?
No, because we have teachers, just like I did last time, that live here in Chino, that drive down to Wildemar to work.
Okay. And how many students do you have at the Wildemar facility?
600 and something.
And what did you start with?
10 years ago, 250-ish.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Mr. Cruz? You didn't, are you buzzing? Is your buzzer not working? He's buzzing.
I'm kind of fascinated with curriculum. And, you have all these, scaffolding techniques, but you mentioned about social interaction. And, that is the best teaching methodology. It's the best compared to everything else, dealing with reciprocal teaching, using the whiteboards. And, dealing with Pajay and Vygotsky about methods of, how kids can develop. You use the word constructivist practices in your daily practice in your curriculum. What does that consist of in the classroom?
Okay, so short definition of constructivism is we have to present students with the setting to construct their knowledge, to understand. They have to grapple with things and work through them in order to understand how they work. You don't learn as much when someone tells you something as you do as when you work through it. So in a nutshell, now I can give you a whole nother definition.
How is that different from the Common Core approach?
Common Core are standards, so it aligns well.
But the approach with achieving the Common Core standards is hands-on, and so how is that different from the methodology that we use to achieve those standards?
Okay, I don't think it is different, but I think that our approach has been, we've done this for 10 years, and I think it aligns well with what Common Core is expecting.
Any other questions from the board? So I now open the public hearing. Is Mrs. Kaler?
Yes.
Now I open the public hearing?
Yes.
At 10:40 p.m.
Kyle's left if he's on.
Are there any speakers?
Yes, there are no speakers.
Okay, having no further requests to speak, I now close the public hearing at 10:40 p.m. Next item.
Item 2B1, public hearing regarding the sufficiency of instructional materials 2018-2019 and adoption of Resolution 2018-2019-12 for Cal Aero Preserve Academy K through 6.
We recommend the Board of Education conduct a public hearing regarding the sufficiency of instructional materials 2018-2019 and adopt Resolution 2018-2019-12 for Cal Aero Preserve Academy K through 6. I now open the public hearing at 10:40. Do we have any speakers?
No speakers.
I now close the public hearing at 10:40. Now for the adoption of this resolution, may I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved Mr. Noss, seconded Mr. Cruz. Are there comments, questions, or discussion? And your button is working.
I know, I just started. I know
Okay.
you mentioned Daniel, I don't know his last name. I apologize.
Hernandez.
Danny Hernandez.
Yeah, Mr. Hernandez, you mentioned about this is the one that you mentioned about the people getting the stuff prepared to have all that materials in the school site.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're always consistent. That's a lot of work. So it was really good that you brought that up because it does take organization time to get that rolling. That's good.
Are there any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0.
Item 2C1, final facilities memorandum of understanding between the Chino Valley Unified School District and Allegiance STEAM Academy.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the final facilities memorandum of understanding between the Chino Valley Unified School District and Allegiance STEAM Academy Charter Schools. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Nah, seconded Mrs. Orozco. Are there comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Are you saying you're opposed?
Oh, yes.
So, okay.
Nay.
Nay, okay. The motion passes with a vote of
I need another chocolate.
4-1. That's all right. It's all right.
Item 2C2, Computer Network and Internet Services Memorandum of Understanding between the Chino Valley Unified School District and Allegiance STEAM Academy Charter School.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the Computer Network and Internet Services Memorandum of Understanding between the Chino Valley Unified School District and Allegiance STEAM Academy Charter Schools. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Nye, second. Second. Mrs. Orozco, comments, questions, or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
The motion passes with a vote of 4-1. Next item.
Item 2C3, Resolution 2018-2019-13, Emergency Request to San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools for authorization to award a contract without bidding and advertising for repairs at Chino High School.
Recommend the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2018-2019-13, Emergency Request to San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools for authorization to award a contract without bidding and advertising for repairs at Chino High School. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Na. Second, Ms. Orozco. Comments, questions, or discussion? Mr. Na.
Can someone explain what this item might be?
Yes. Last Monday, a week before school started, we had a power outage at Chino High School that the cause could not be determined what it was. Our electricians on staff could not locate the failure. We called in a contractor, high voltage contractor, to look things over. They found a blown high voltage fuse and a failed high voltage transformer, which was the cause of the outage, but they could not find what caused those components to fail. So the contractor was put to work. They worked on it for most of the week and ended up finding a underground high voltage line that had essentially burned in half. It shorted out for some reason or another, which required to pull out the entire run from the switchgear to the main panel. There was actually 3 runs they had to replace because there's 3 runs to the circuit. They replaced all the wire and the transformer and the fuses, and it was back up and running late Friday night.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions? May I have a motion?
We did already.
Oh, we did. Oh, I'm sorry.
The vote.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. Next item.
Item 2D1, Employment Contract for Richard Rideout, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources of the Chino Valley Unified School District.
Please bear with me. This is a lot of reading. Recommend the Board of Education approve the employment contract for Richard Rideout, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources of the Chino Valley Unified School District. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
Hearing no speakers, the Board will consider the employment of Richard Rideout and approve his employment contract. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953, Subdivision C3, the Board provides this oral summary of the salary and fringe benefit recommendation for the following local agency executive: Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources. The term of the new employment contract between the district and the Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources is August 17, 2018 through June 30, 2022. The annual salary to be paid to the Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources is $152,632, and other elements of compensation listed in the contract are health and welfare benefits cap of $8,201 annually, membership dues to the Association of California School Administrators for a total of $1,451.69 annually, and the cost of using personal vehicle for district business for a total amount of $350 monthly. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Mrs. Blair moved, Mr. Na second. Comments, questions, or discussion?
I have a question.
Mr. Na.
Yes, can someone answer that this position is and pay rate is aligned with surrounding districts? Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes with a vote of 5-0. That concludes the action items. We are now at consent. Pat, are there any speakers on consent items?
There is one speaker on item 3E1, but I don't know if she's here, if you'd like me to call her name.
Sure.
Joy Canister. Joy Canister. Oh, she is? Okay. One speaker.
Okay.
What item? 3E1.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Dr. Enfield, the board, and the cabinet for your time. My name is Joy Canister. I'm here to ask you for your approval of my leave of absence. I would like to give you a little bit of my history in this community and the district. Chino has been my home for my whole life. I grew up here attending Alicia Cortez, Woodcrest, and Chino High. A couple years after receiving my BA, I began working as an instructional aide in RSP, split between Cortez and Walnut Avenue Elementary. A little over a year later, I transferred to Howard Cattle Elementary in special education, and I'm still currently working at that school. I've been employed in this district for a little over 11 years. My request for a leave of absence is from August 27th through December 14th. This consists of 73 work days. I'm in need of this leave because I am participating in clinical practice to receive my teaching credential. My first 8 weeks will take place at Lyle Briggs Fundamental. I've been working on my multiple subject teaching credential and master's degree in education for the past year at Azusa Pacific University. I have 4 more courses along with clinical practice to complete in the next 16 weeks. I look forward to continue working with this district following the completion of my credential. It was explained to me that not granting my leave of absence would be beneficial to me because it would open up doors for me to be able to student teach and make a little bit more money while I was waiting to take a permanent position. While this might sound nice, it isn't beneficial to me. I am a brain cancer survivor. A couple years before I applied for my first position in the district, I had 3 brain surgeries and multiple rounds of radiation. The original cancer was quite aggressive. I temporarily lost most of my vision, but thankfully regained it again. 5 years later, 2 more tumors were removed. One was in my brain and one on my spinal cord. Thankfully, they weren't as aggressive as the original. It is because of this medical history that I asked for you to consider granting my leave of absence. I would like to continue with my current medical coverage. I've been healthy with no signs of cancer for almost 8 years now, but I would like the security of having insurance. It originally surprised me that I was denied the leave of absence because I would work in an educational setting that strives to prepare its students for college and career. As a long-term employee seeking further education for a career in education, I was expecting support by granting leave. I love working with kids and encouraged over the years by teachers as well as administrators to get my credential. I ask you to consider all the time I have invested in this district and its students. Thank you again, Dr. Enfield, for meeting with me and Danny Hernandez earlier this month, and for the personal phone call you made to let me know of your decision. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Board members, do you have any polls? Mrs. Orozco?
None.
Mr. Cruz? None. Mrs. Hernandez-Blair?
None.
Mr. Na?
No, I have none.
And I have no polls either. So, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent items pass. We are now at board member and superintendent communications. Mrs. Orozco.
Information.
Oh,
Information.
how did I miss that?
It's late.
Since 11.
I didn't even see any information items tonight. It is almost 11 o'clock. So where are you? I'm not seeing it. There you go. can say we are now at information items.
Yes.
Are there any
Mhm.
questions or comments?
Yeah.
I always say the same thing.
Well, you passed the half-an-hour limit.
We're not information items. Any questions or comments? Nope. Hearing none. We are now at board member and superintendent comments. Thank you. Mrs. Orozco.
Okay, so let me begin by announcing our retirements. Dennis Batterby, 34 years of service, counselor at Ayala High School. He was actually my oldest son's counselor. Linda Schaefer, 27 years of service, teacher at Ayala High School. Linda Houston, 44 years of service. Oh my goodness, Walnut. Yolanda Cardona, 14 years of service at Briggs. Arlene Delgadillo, 17 years of service at Townsend. Elvira Gutierrez, 28 years of service at Chino Hills. Deanne Pickett, 14 years of service at Don Lugo. Michelle Condit, 18 years of service at CVLA. And Victoria Cathy, 29 years of service, nutrition services. Congratulations on your retirement. Have a wonderful retirement. Enjoy. Okay, just real quick. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to school. Dr. Enfield, I really enjoyed your video. How many takes did it take for that last basketball shot? Wow. Okay, yeah.
I'll tell you the real thing.
Okay. So, as was mentioned earlier, the first day I attended the Ramona Junior High School red carpet. It was really cool. I think the parents were having just as much fun walking down the red carpet as the kids were. Marshall Elementary, they had theirs was Friendship and Beyond. And I think I was singing You've Got a Friend in Me for the rest of the day. But that was, and it was so cute. They were all dressed in their costumes. They were dressed in the Toy Story? Toy Story costumes. It really, really cute. Okay, so everyone, please remember to drive safely. Our kids are out there. Also remember to respect the residents that live around the schools, the driveways. Kids, remember not to be walking on people's yards. So have a wonderful year. That'll conclude.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz.
Thank you. Yes, and we also should thank Miss Emmy Pre. She probably helped with the video. Jaime. So she did a fantastic job.
She did.
You got the Battle of the Bones coming on Friday, so that's going to be a real exciting event at Chino Hills. What starts at 7:30? 7 o'clock.
7.
I do want to repeat what Mr. Bennett mentioned about Friday the 24th at the I forgot the name of the area. What is it called?
The community building in Chino Hills?
Community Center.
The community center. From 7 to 7:30, pop hits, and from 8 to 9, minor struts. So I'd just like to say, just for parents to be aware, and that is that, Chino Valley is 99% compliant with the California Healthy Youth Act, the comprehensive sex education. The curriculum is called Positive Preventive Plus. Parents should have the right to opt out from the comprehensive sex education, California Healthy Act. Well, I know my Dana, she started this week, and she really enjoyed her education. Her first day of school, she loves school. Same with my son too. So I'm very fortunate to for my kids go into a great community, great experiences that they'll have from now until they graduate from high school. So I'm very grateful to live in an area where my kids play and they feel safe. So thank you. So, well, we're here. We are at the start of another school year. And like the start of many school years, students and their families often find themselves amid changes and challenges, especially those entering junior high from elementary and high school from junior high. The higher the grade level, the more intense the changes and challenges can be. We live in a world of revolutionary technology, artificial intelligence, and of course, let's not forget the forever present World Wide Web. It has given us Google and other platforms to communicate and learn through. They also have the capacity to control a huge amount of information that we get. Students, part of your education is a journey through the marketplace of ideas and exchange of thoughts through freedom of speech. You should listen with intention, question with integrity, and investigate concepts that are new to you. Agree or disagree. Don't just go along with the popular narrative. Really think about thoughts and ideas and the impact they have. Are they truly yours or someone else's? You know that at the turn of the century, cities had town squares in which citizens stood on soapboxes and freely gave speeches, gave opinions, and had debates and discussions to find common ground, or maybe not. But they had the right idea, freedom to participate in exchange of ideas. Back then it was the town square. Today it is the World Wide Web, the soapbox, or the social media. Social media now, that's a very complex communication tool. Those that run social media control how and when they allow you to communicate. These powerful entities wield their control through censorship over what you read and often limit your ability to engage in or oppose the multitude of opinions and thoughts. Let us never forget that the history has shown bad ideas are most often defeated by good ideas backed up by ethics and reason rather than censorship. A free society depends on enhancing ideas regardless of the potential capability of offending someone. Without the market of ideas, our current understanding of the world would be unrecognizable and entirely false. As our policy states, the Board of Education believes that free inquiry and exchange of ideas are an essential part of a democratic education. So for me, discourse is truly all we have control. So never be afraid to talk, use your words right, do it from a position of careful thought, think and investigate. The potential for greatness is waiting for you. Thank you.
Mrs. Blair.
I want to commend all of the students and parents who spoke regarding their views and their experiences at Ayala High School. It is never easy to come forward and share your truth and your experience. Granted, there were many speakers who said that they didn't encounter any abuse, either emotionally or physically, and that's great. But we had 10 speakers that addressed their concerns, how they were made to feel, and we cannot ignore that fact. I do want to thank the parents who are supporting their daughters, because I wish that at Don Lugo High School, the parents had supported their sons in the same manner, instead of hushing them and telling them that they shouldn't talk about what took place. There is one student who I've been communicating with through Instagram who wants badly to transfer out of that high school. But his parents have told him that they don't want to hear about what happened in that classroom, that he is to go to school every day. Today, as we were in closed session, there was a parent who shared what her son is going through, for former freshman football player, who will be requesting a transfer to Ayala High School. So though these boys have been made to be silent, there are some who are stepping up to be heard. And I just ask the group of students who are here tonight that as these boys enter the campus at Ayala High School, that you help them be free so that they too can experience the freedom that you've experienced today by being able to have the support of your parents and to be able to share your truth. I want to thank and let Dr. Enfield know about the stellar work that Dr. Carr does. Over the summer, my son took online course, a Spanish course, through Cal State San Bernardino. He figured out something I didn't know, that if you take foreign language, so he took Spanish 1 and then took Spanish 2 over the summer. And then if he takes Spanish 3 in 10th grade, then he is set into the UC program. I didn't know that. My son knew that, enrolled himself, and got his B- over the summer. But it's not promoted enough. Instead, what the counselor did at Don Lugo was promote a charter school. It wasn't until I brought it to your attention that you said, well, we also have it up at Dr. Carr's campus. And so we rushed over there and we were able to get it. But I think we need to promote it more because I think it was a fabulous program to be able to do it at home. His exams were Skyped in Spanish, you know, the exam, and everything. We only had to visit his campus one time. And so I just think we need to do a better job of promoting that which we have. And if we can promote the fact that if they take the 3 years of foreign language before sophomore year that they're on track for UC, go figure that. I would learn something at 50 years old from my 15-year-old. But so I'm glad that he got that done. Your video was amazing. I shared it on my personal Facebook page, and parents agreed with me that you're like a breath of fresh air. They loved it. They're looking forward to exciting new things, and they are elated at the fact that the status quo is not part of your plan. And so thank you for that. It was a really good video, and you looked really young in the video. I don't know if somebody did your makeup, but you looked really young, Dr. Enfeld, on the video. I want to congratulate Ayala High School's freshman and JV teams because they beat Chino Hills High School today in the first part of the battle for the bone. So kudos to them. The big game is tomorrow, so hopefully it'll continue. But at least for today, they did an amazing job. And I just want to close by asking again, and well, first thanking Dr. Enfeld, that please, the revamping of the expectations for coaches for every sport, that it not fall to the wayside. We need changes in that area. I mean, there are a lot of changes that we need to do in the district, but please don't let it fall to the wayside, especially as it's heightened right now. So, but I want to thank you for everything you're doing. And Ayala High School's drop-off is out of control right now because there's a lot of materials everywhere. And so the sheriffs are loving it because they have 10 cars pulled over every morning ticketing. And but we have no drop-off. So I went from Briggs having an issue. Now I'm at Ayala having an issue. And I guess it comes with the territory, but I know that we will probably start receiving complaints because there is no drop-off right now. So, welcome to a new school year. Have a good night.
Mr. Na.
Yes, congratulations for Arcela, but I'd like to thank your mom. Is your mom, Arceli? Oh, he told me Arceli. Arceli? Okay. Can I have your mom stand up? I'd like to thank you. Let me tell you, my parents had told me, you couldn't be here without your parents. So always respect your mom, listen to her, because one day you're going to become a mom. Stay always positive, no matter what happens, and be grateful for this life and your family. Time travels real fast as you get older, but there's certain things that you have to send up, right principles, especially protecting innocent, young, helpless, weak people. I want you to have respect, honor, and compassion for the rest of your life for others. Thank you. Let's give her a big round of applause. I have attended Buena Vista High School for the first day. Kids were excited. Excellent staffs, great principal, new principal. People were very excited. And it was good to see and hear from students that are concerned with their future. They want to find good job. They want to get good grades. And also they want to go to good four-year school. So I was really excited because our young people are thinking, and that's really good. Although there were a few students didn't have much of a hope. Maybe the situations they're facing, and as we have done it when we were young. But we need to let them know there's always a chance to be successful. And as an adult over 18 years old, I think that is our duty to support them any way we can. I'd like to thank Brenda Walker. She served many students who really needed help. And you've been placed in your position to serve more students. Thank you for mentioning about the kids all the time, because I knew from your heart, yeah, you miss them, yes. And Daniel Hernandez, you also are always concerned with our students. And I think we have a great team, our great cabinet members. So I'm really hoping for a bright year. So thank you, thank you.
Superintendent Enfield.
And to all of our staff members throughout the district, I want to thank all of them for all the work that they do year in and year out to a great start of the school year. Every year seems to go very smoothly, and this year was no exception. The other part, I want to wish all of our students best year ever. And that will conclude my comments.
I have a few comments. I attended the Back to School Meet Your Teacher event at Rolling Ridge. Wow, people lined up around the whole neighborhood. But the most striking piece for me was how hard the teachers and staff had to work that day to make that happen. And that came out of their one preschool day. So I would like to say, as you drive around the community before school starts, look how many cars are in the parking lot. Our school parking lots are overflowing with people donating their time. I see them coming in with the paper and the markers and the so many donations from our staff members. And I hope it is well appreciated, because I think sometimes that goes on behind the scenes and people don't even notice, or don't even know those aren't work days. They're all just there to get ready. It's a huge, huge gift to our community from our employees. And I thank them for it. And I hope you all know that our students are better off for all of those efforts. And then lastly, I did want to talk about my vote last meeting on the invocation lawsuit. I've been on this board for 4 years. That lawsuit has been part of our discussions for the past 4 years. It's interesting to me to hear people say, oh, it's only ceremonial, what's the big deal? I don't think it's only ceremonial. I think it's deeply felt. And I think because it's deeply felt, that's why we lost. If it were only ceremonial, we'd give it up. Why would we continue to fight this? My concern is the money that we must be prepared to pay comes out of the money that we've been given to educate our children. It is a noble fight. I just don't think it's our fight. And even though we have been told that there is money that is being raised, the school district has not received any money. And so we are on the hook for over $250,000, and yet we're pushing forward. That is why I'm opposed to that, and I hope that clarifies my position for those who wonder. With that, I will adjourn the meeting at 11:13.